favorite turns recently, with injury and attrition sapping the team of its winning vibe. But an infusion of power and excitement could be just what the doctor ordered tonight. With no regard for human safety, Astros baseball starts now. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Root Sports brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, the finale of this brief two-game series matches the Astros with the defending world champion San Francisco Giants. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jeff Blum. Alan Ashby with another night off. He'll return tomorrow. Blummer, this is your win now before going back home again.
I'm going to say no pressure, right? Did pretty good on the road. Now I'm trying to bring some of that magic here at a Minute Maid.
Well, it's a different feel tonight because Brett Oberholtzer's on the mound for the first time this year for the Astros, and George Springer's back in the lineup.
Yeah, it's good to have him back out there, Springer. But this pitch-by-pitch is going to be brought to you by Steel Dealers, and it's talking about Brett Oberholtzer trying to make a bid for that 5 spot in that rotation. We saw when he was a rookie, he did a great job of standing up right-handed hitters, did a good job elevating that fastball, wasn't afraid to come into that inside corner and get these guys back off the plate. And look for him to go back in that inside corner. What that does is it sets up a great changeup that Oberholtzer has. Doesn't have a great breaking ball like Dallas Keuchel, so he's got to rely on those two strong pitches.
Coming up, coiled and ready, the Astros are getting healthier on the mound. And one of the team's most dynamic superstars makes his return to the lineup as well. Julia Morales talks with George Springer when we return.
Houston, there will be a familiar face back in the lineup. George Springer is back off the 7-day concussion DL. He's passed all his tests. He had a quick rehab assignment in Corpus Christi, and he's obviously here with me right now. We've seen you sacrifice your body several times since you've been called up. You're great to watch out there in the outfield, but after an injury like the one you had about a week ago, does it force you to adjust the way you play, and if not, why?
No. I'm just going to go out there and play hard, and if that time comes again, just not hit it head on.
As far as offense goes, this team wants to be a little bit more consistent. As you return to the lineup, batting cleanup, what's important for you as you step up to the plate tonight?
Just do anything I can, to help us win, and obviously with Jake and Altuve hitting, first and second, if they're on base, it's our job to drive him in.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, that's George Springer. The return of George Springer and the return of Brett Oberholzer. It's something that we have seen before. We're going to take you back to last May, I should say. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to explain the significance of that after the break. George Springer returns from the DL, and so does lefty Brett Oberholzer for the first time this year. We'll see him with the Astros. Both of these guys coming off the disabled list. Very happy to be back. And this reminds me of a game from last year. Last May 24, 2014. We're going to turn back the clocks a little bit, which is exactly what the guys are doing in Seattle, wearing those rainbows. But Springer and Obi both coming back at that same time. Obi was called up. Springer coming back from a couple of days off where he dealt with a little injury, but he had 2 home runs in that game, 5 ribbies in his first multi-home run game. And you see Obi there had a career-high 8 strikeouts. It's our T-Mobile game changer taking us back. Obi was spectacular. Although he did not stay up all year, he was kind of up and down all last year. Really does not want that to be the case this year. He'll be on the mound tonight. Excited to be back with the club. Had some hard luck in spring training, battling some different injuries. And for more on that, I'm going to give it up to the guys in the booth. Brownie and Blum.
Could history repeat itself tonight? Thank you, Julia, for taking us back to last year. And now as the Astros take the field, they would love to get a split of this brief 2-game series. They'll be playing 2 in San Francisco later this season. In August, Oberholzer on his way to the mound as his teammates have already made their way to their positions on the field. The Astros have a 4-game lead atop the AL West. At 20 and 13, they've spent 27 days in first place so far this year. And these are the roster moves getting you to the present 25-day roster. 25-man roster. George Springer has been activated from the 7-day concussion disabled list. Robbie Grossman has been optioned to AAA Fresno. Kevin Chapman sent to Fresno to make room for Brett Oberholzer.
It's going to be interesting to see how that outfield unfolds for me. Robbie Grossman knew his role here coming off the bench, but now Preston Tucker. Who's the odd man out in the outfield, and how does A.J. Hinch play those matchups?
A.J. was asked about how he would use Tucker, and he said there will be times when we give Jake Marisnick a rest. Colby Rasmus slides over to center field. Tucker plays left. And some other opportunities perhaps to use him as a DH. Here's the starting lineup now for the visiting San Francisco Giants and the defending world champs, who got a win last night to go to 17-16. Nori Aoki is their leadoff man and left fielder. Playing second base tonight, it's Matt Duffy. Angel Pagan is a center fielder. Buster Posey DHing tonight in the cleanup spot. The right fielder is former Astro Justin Maxwell, with Brandon Belt at first base, Andrew Susak the catcher, Casey McGee at third base, and Brandon Crawford the shortstop. The pitcher is Tim Hudson.
On the mound for the Houston Astros, Brett Oberholzer coming back after that DL stint. Had 2 starts in the minor leagues, one not so good with 2 2/3 innings, giving up 7 earned runs, but he bounced back nicely, going 5 1/3, giving up no earned runs. And here he is back in the big leagues. Fastball, curveball, changeup. See if he can establish that inside corner on some of these right-handed hitters for the San Francisco Giants. Make that changeup that much better. Hopefully he's got that slider going too.
He's a native of Delaware, 25 years old. Obi drafted by Atlanta in the 8th round in 08. He came in the Michael Bourne trade to Houston in 2011. He faces Aoki with the third baseman Valbuena on the grass. Carter pulled in at first, and Aoki takes that first pitch. It's ball 1. 276 with 1 homer, 9 runs batted in. Nori shoots a line drive outside third base, foul, for a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Well, the Giants started the season 4-10. They've gone 13-6 since then. They are 4-0 in interleague play. They swept the Angels earlier this season. They've won 7 straight from the Astros dating back to 2012. This line drive again is slicing and again fouling out of play. So now it seems that Bruce Bochy's club may be hitting its stride a lot better, awaiting the return of Hunter Pence, who is on an injury rehab assignment in the minor leagues right now. He could be back fairly soon.
That'll be good for Bochy. That'll readjust his lineup a little bit. You see Pagan hitting third, normally out of that leadoff spot.
It's grounded out to Altuve. 1 out. Well, we had him off balance on that one, Jeff.
That's a good thing, and hopefully he does get a lot of ground balls. We just saw Altuve out there at second base. In the outfield behind Oberholzer is going to be Colby Rasmus, Jake Marisnick, George Springer, and then in the infield, Luis Valbuena, Jonathan Villar out there at shortstop. And over there with Altuve is going to be Chris Carter and Jason Castro working again behind the dish with Obi.
24-year-old rookie Matt Duffy comes up. He was the third baseman last night, and he had his best major league game with 5 runs batted in, going 3 for 4. Duffy moving to second for this game. Sports a .300 batting average with 1 homer, 15 runs batted in. Joe Panik played second last night. He bats left. He's on the bench tonight against the lefty Obi. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oberholzer is facing the Giants for the first time in his career. As a major leaguer, he's won 9 and lost 18 with a 3.85 ERA. A tough luck pitcher. Has often worked without much run support. Fastball goes wide, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Well, the Giants have played awfully well when they have come to Houston. 31-14 at Minute Maid Park. Fastball also fails to make it into the strike zone. That takes the count to 3-1 on Duffy. Duffy was drafted by the Giants in the 18th round in 2012. He went to Long Beach State. Played in the World Series last year after only 60 regular season ABs. And that gives him a 1-out walk. Will be unable to slot that fastball where he wanted to on Duffy. And Pagan will follow. Switch hitting outfielder is hitting .360 his last 15 games. Pagano at .333 for the season, has driven in 8. And last night he came up with 3 hits and 5 at bats. Giants are next to last in the National League in runs scored. They have pitched well, though. Pagan shoots one toward right center field, sending Marisnick over to his left. Springer's there. Springer will take it. 2 outs. Welcome back, George.
No kid, get reintroduced a little bit. And it's a luxury to have 3 center fielders out there, but at the same time, these guys are used to taking control, and they overlap so much coverage that this has to happen sometimes.
Yeah.
But still good talk between the 2 guys.
Buster Posey is DHing tonight. That'll save a little bit on the wear and tear from the normal catcher, who has 4 homers and 11 runs batted in. The shift is on. It's wide open for him through the right side of the infield. And it's ball 1. Again, Obi trying to make that adjustment and keep the fastball in closer to the plate, but he's been missing outside to right-handed batters.
Got to finish the pitch. Sometimes if you let that arm lag a little bit, don't get over the front side, has a tendency to leave pitches over on that arm side.
There he is making his Astros debut for 2015 anyway. May 13th, a lot later than he would have hoped because of the injuries Julia talked about earlier. Blister problem and also an injury to his side. Foul back. 1 ball, 1 strike, and he was telling the media last night that he let his ego get the best of him a little bit and trying to pitch through that injury instead of taking some time off in the spring and letting it heal.
That's going to happen to young kids. They don't want to be seen in that training room. They don't want to be seen as soft. They want to see if they can battle through it, but sometimes it can lead to further injury, further time away from the game.
He breaks it into the strike zone, and it's 1-2 on Posey. Posey's on a 5-game hitting streak. Really a threat. He is a thumper. One of the top hitting catchers certainly in the game right now. Runner going, and the pitch is low. The throw on the wrong side of the bag, and it's a steal by Duffy. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Posey.
Bag was stolen on Obi. You see, as soon as he lifts that lead leg, Duffy was off going first move. Obi's focus obviously on Buster Posey at home plate with 2 outs in the inning.
It's the 18th steal by a Giant this season, and the count's 2-2 now. Buster Posey, 28 years old, a first-round pick in 08, the 5th player drafted that year. Looks at a close one, and now it's a full count with Maxwell on deck. Buster last year hit .311 with 22 bombs. He drove in 89 runs. He is a .308 lifetime hitter in the majors.
He's real good.
He pulls that one foul. Well, it's a real dilemma here. You've got a top-notch hitter at the plate, a 3-2 count, a man in scoring position. So a walk wouldn't be the worst thing, Blummer.
No, I agree. That's what I was thinking about, too. It's only the first inning, yes, but at the same time, you want to keep runs from scoring. And this guy at home plate has made a living, as you just said, driving in runs. Maybe tried to, I'm assuming maybe got a little too much of the plate with that pitch right there.
Broken bat looper, but that's going to be an RBI single. For a 1-0 lead for the Giants. Posey cracked the bat, but drove in his 12th of the season.
Guys in the dugout are saying that bat died a hero. Good piece of hitting, and Buster Posey recognizes it too. You notice with a lot of the RBI guys around the league, if they have a runner in scoring position, they don't care about getting blown up. They're just going to find a way to get that runner in, whether the bat breaks, whether it's a drop shot in the outfield. It all counts the same.
Now it's Justin Maxwell, who's filled in quite well for Hunter Pence in right field with 3 homers, 15 runs batted in, and a .250 average. That ground ball goes into right field. Maxwell follows Posey with a single of his own, and it's runners at first and second for Brandon Belt with 2 outs.
Good piece of hitting. Maxwell's a big man, about 6'6", would you say, Brownie? Long arms.
He is very athletic, yeah.
Get that ball out over the plate. Allows him to move that ball around the ballpark a little bit better because he can get extended.
And Brandon Belt, a .300 hitter who's driven in 7, makes it a lefty on lefty. He was 1 for 5 last night. Infield shifts around on him, taking strike 1. Colin McHugh was last night's starter for the Astros. He took an 11-game winning streak into the game, and the Giants beat him 8-1. Susak is on deck. He gets a swing and a miss from Belt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And you noticed last night on one of those high fastballs he failed to catch up with, that Belt drops his hands and just couldn't get the bat up to that higher pitch.
Be an interesting time to throw when he's ahead 0-2. He could waste one up, maybe get Belt to chase.
It bounces instead, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Belt has brought his average up from 217 to 300 by hitting .441 in his last 9 games, 15 for 34. Very good fastball hitter. In fact, he is hitting Blummer .409 against fastballs 93 and faster this year.
He's got an extra gear.
Couldn't catch that one, and that's a strikeout. It's 1 run on 2 hits and 2 men left for the Giants. The Astros come up against Tim Hudson next. .39-year-old Tim Hudson will face this group of Astros tonight. Jake Maristic center field. Jose Altuve second base. Luis Valbuena third base. George Springer right field. Colby Rasmussen left field. Evan Gattis the DH. The catcher is Jason Castro. With first baseman Chris Carter batting 8th tonight. Shortstop Jonathan Villar in the 9 spot.
On the mound for the Giants, salty veteran Tim Hudson. Numbers on the year aren't all that great. Not really getting much run support, which could benefit Brett Oberholzer a little bit. But Tim Hudson's numbers career-wise against the Astros pretty phenomenal. A 5-0 record in 7 games started.
He throws strike one to Marisnick, a .316 hitter with 3 homers, 13 runs batted in.
Hudson's got fastball, slider, curveball, a change / split.
It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. He's had a very fine career. 215 wins, 127 losses, a 3.47 ERA. His last start was a rough one, though. That's off the plate to Marisnick, 2-1. Jake has walked 6 times this year. Last time out against Miami on Thursday, he lost, giving up 15 hits and 6 runs in 6 1/3 innings. Grounded to shortstop. Crawford. 1 out.
Let's take a look at the Giants defense behind the old man Tim Hudson. Out left field, Nori Aoki. Center field, Angel Pagan. Justin Maxwell out there in right field. On the left side of the infield, Casey McGahee at third base. Brandon Crawford, you just saw at shortstop. Matt Duffy moves from third to second. Brandon Belt at first. And Andrew Susak behind the plate working with Tim Hudson.
He's a good young catcher. Jose Altuve. Oh, look at Bill. He is snapping away. That's a good angle.
Good trigger finger.
Altuve at .328 has the 8th best average in the American League. Smacks one into left field. He was out for early hitting today, working on some bunting. And this time a nice swing in the bat puts him at first with his 46th hit of the year.
Yeah, I caught your tweet on that one, Brownie.
Watch him. Well, he's a worker, isn't he?
He is, and that's what you love about the guy. He does everything right, including getting a lot of hits. He knew it wasn't going to take him long to go up there and start hacking against a guy like Hudson, who throws a lot of strikes.
That's a nice sound of the guys in the Astros dugout. After last night, they were held to 2 hits by Chris Heston. Now Luis Valbuena. Ground ball could be 2. There's the backhand, and Duffy gets it to Crawford for a 4-6-3 double play. After 1, it's 1-0 Giants.
Helps us get to know Brett Oberholzer. Let's see what we got here. His favorite player growing up, Roger Clemens. Favorite movie, Shawshank Redemption's a good one. Craziest job you've ever had. He sold Christmas trees at a produce stand. I just got a great visual of him helping tie a Christmas tree on a car. Good stuff for Moby there. Coming into today, guys, I got a chance to talk to pitching coach Brent Strom about Obi and what he hopes to see from him today. Well, he said that changeup looked really good in that last rehab start, getting lots of good reports from that rehab start with Fresno. But he also wants him to see him use the cutter. Last year against righties, he would come inside but then work the other side of the plate, and big league hitters were starting to figure that out. So the cutter was something he wanted to develop. That way he could work that inside of the plate, guys.
Thank you. Andrew Susak takes strike 1. 25-year-old catcher looks at strike 2 from Obi. 250, 1 homer, 2 runs batted in for Susac. He had 88 at bats for the Giants last year. He's from Oregon State, 2nd round pick in 2011. Chases that high pitch. That's a good 0-2 offering for Obi. Well, you look at these Giants players and all the seasoning they got from postseason play last year. Here's a guy 25 who played in the World Series.
Goes a long way for the confidence.
Struck him out. Number 2.
I like that pitch from Obi right there. That down and in slider. It's nice, tight, firm. Don't want to see that big loopy one in there. It gives a hitter a time to see it and adjust to it. This one looks like a fastball out of his hand and then darts down and in. Nice pitch.
Yeah, Dallas Keuchel would be proud of that one.
That'd be a good guy to talk to about throwing sliders for sure.
Casey McGee is back in the lineup. He's off to a very slow start after signing with his club as a free agent to replace the Panda. Good ball 1. McGee 179, 2 homers, 7 runs batted in. Did not play in last night's game. Pablo Sandoval deciding to move along through free agency to Boston. But the Giants just presented Sandoval with his World Series ring when Boston was in Oakland. 2 balls, no strikes. Well, McGee has just 6 hits in his last 36 at bats. Big cut there, 1 and 2, and Obi fooled him on the speed of that pitch.
Hitters count. Looking fastball. Obi pulls a string, gets back in this count.
McGee's 32 years old. He's played with the Cubs, Milwaukee, went to Japan, played with Miami last year. 3 balls and a strike. Our buddy Dwayne Kuiper over in the Giants TV booth was kidding about the Giants World Series rings, and boy are they huge. That's a strike, 3 and 2. He jokingly said, well, the players requested that Bumgarner's name be on all the rings.
Yeah, some of these rings in San Francisco, you could probably park on Nob Hill out there and use it to keep your car from going down the hill.
Oh, are they immense. That's a walk. And McGee draws the second base on balls from Oberholzer tonight. Brandon Crawford will follow. Crawford, after a solid season last year, checks in at 252. 316 in his last dozen games, though, for Crawford. Crawford last night batted 7th, and he had an RBI double, 1 for 4 with a walk. Jonathan Villar moves up the middle on Crawford. Fouls it away for strike 1. Giants won 88 games last year, and then they won it all. Kansas City won, I believe, 89, and both were wild cards, making it to the World Series. Oh, and 2, the wild card spot has done an awful lot for baseball, showing how teams that may not have had a great season can put things together in the playoffs and still win everything.
That's why they always say all you need is a ticket to the dance. Just get in somehow, some way, grind it out. There's more opportunities these days for that second wild card now. Still got to kind of fight your way in a little bit.
Line shot to left. It's in for a hit. Rasmus over to play it on a bounce. Crawford selected the 0-2 offering, and he smacked it for hit number 3 of the night for the Giants. Check out this ring.
Now there's your San Francisco Giants doorstop. About 95 diamonds, it looks like, in that thing. Pretty special.
Well, it's their 3rd one in 5 years, so they seem to get more and more expensive every time, right?
Yeah, you got to step it up, right?
They did. Nori Aoki rolled out in the 1st inning to Jose Altuve. Been a very good acquisition. That one in the dirt. Ball one for this Giant club. Playing left field. He's 33 years old. Coming from Japan to play with Milwaukee and Kansas City. Has a high batting average, high on base average for his career. The Giants have not hit well with men in scoring position. 229 as a team. That's a ball, and it's 2-0. Jim Joyce, the crew chief, is the home plate umpire tonight. That's in. 2 balls, 1 strike with Duffy on deck. Overholtzer last season 5-13 with a 4.39 ERA.
Great location.
Yeah.
Joyce giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure a seam caught that outside corner, but it's just frustrating when you watch Obi pitch. 2 pitches get away, and then he makes a pitch like that.
Chopped. Valbuena to second. Altuve reaches out, snags it, gets the out, and a double play. Phenomenal double play by Altuve, who was feeling for the bag with his foot as he took that throw on the run from Valbuena to make it a 5-4-3 beauty.
Impressive stuff. Altuve playing Aoki to pull a little bit. Had to be on a dead sprint, catch that ball on the run, like you said, Brownie. Great turn.
It's like a challenge maybe forthcoming from the Giants on that call at second base. And nope, they have decided not to challenge it. So the call stands. It's no runs, a hit, and a man left, and it's 1-0 Giants. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. 1-0 Giants. We go to the bottom of the second inning, and there's a Tim Hudson curveball at strike 1 to George Springer. Just off the 7-day concussion disabled list, which included 1 rehab game last night for AA Corpus Christi. He DH'd and had a hit last night, 1 for 4 in the game at San Antonio. 192 for Springer. 4 homers, 12 runs batted in, and a jarring catch up against that right field wall a week ago last night against the Rangers. 1 ball and 2 strikes to George. That's strike 3. We missed one. I missed one. That's out number 1. Here's the double play, Blummer.
See Altuve on the run. That ball leaked in towards the runner. Luckily, The runner wasn't there in time to get Altuve, but you can see you got that foot on the second base bag, and this is another close play at first base.
Very. Colby Rasmus looks at strike one. Rasmus is 6 for 14 with 2 homers, 4 runs batted in against Hudson, who went to Auburn, and Rasmus is a big Auburn fan. Colby has moved back, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Wow, the inner turmoil for Colby's got to be tough.
Colby was born in Columbus, Georgia. He pulls that one foul. Whacked that one hard, way out in front. Julia, was that close?
I don't know. I closed my eyes and hid.
Good move, because that thing was coming in hot.
Oh, I heard it.
Oh my goodness! Watch where this ball ends up. Directly behind Colby Rasmus. That's getting the head out. Run for the hills.
He was ready to swing. This one goes over shortstop, left center field. Okay, on the run. 2 outs. It looked good off the bat, but he closed the gap. That'll be Evan Gattis. Well, the Astros certainly are slumping as a team. Many hitters have seen drop-offs in their batting average, including Evan Gattis, who is 0 for his last 17.
Yeah, it seems when Astros hitters slump, they get fully into that slump.
They go all the way.
Some pretty amazing numbers.
Little roller brings Hudson over toward the line, and he has a very quick and easy second inning with a 1-0 lead, needing only 8 pitches there after a 6-pitch first.
The special ticket package starts at only $70 and includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, and a lot C parking pass. Get your Kroger Family 4-pack for this Sunday's game by visiting astros.com/value or calling 1-877-9-ASTROS. Friday.
Well, the innings continue to be quick for the opposing pitcher facing the Astros. Boy, they've had some times here in the last week. Astros really struggling to get base runners. They trail this one 1-0. Duffy, Pagano, and Posey due up in the Giant 3rd inning. Duffy walked, stole a base, and scored in the 1st on the single by Posey. That's strike 1, so it's a tough time for the Astros starting pitchers without that run support. That's a fly ball hit out into left center field. Stabbed by Marisnick, and a leadoff single by Duffy. Hit number 4 for the Giants.
Kid Duffy's having a series. 3 hits yesterday, 1 today. Walked in his 1st at bat.
He's taking advantage of the opportunity.
Sure is. playing multiple positions and swinging a bat like that, Bochy will find you a spot.
Pagan looks down at his third base coach, Roberto Kelly. Pagan hit a fly ball to right in the first inning. Michael Bourne fan here tonight. And the throw goes over. Astros will find the 9-game homestand continuing tomorrow night with a brand new series starting. The Toronto Blue Jays are here with a 7:10 start. Roberto Hernandez and Drew Hutchison to pitch. We'll be on the air at 6:30 with the pregame show. Another throw over, and then Friday night at 7:10 it's Dallas Keuchel and R.A. Dickey. Saturday at 6:10 Scott Feldman and Marco Estrada. Sunday at 1:10 Colin McHugh and Mark Burley. Your old buddy, teammate.
Yeah, good guy, pitches fast. Makes him even more likable.
Pagan takes a look at it, and it's ball one. Giants will head on into Cincinnati, then they'll go back home and play the Dodgers next week. And Hunter Pence might be back for that series, according to some reports. Holzer had the 2 rehab starts in the minors you talked about, Plummer, but things can be a little disjointed when your season at the major league level starts in mid-May.
Yeah, you're playing catch up, it feels like, the first half of the season until you get your legs back under you.
And it's a question mark how long he'll be allowed to stay in tonight's game, because he hasn't built up the true staying power that he hopes to have later on in the season. He was penciled in as the Astros number 4 starter when spring training began. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Threw 72 pitches in that last start out at El Paso. But yeah, they've got a close eye on Brett.
Well, the normal progression would put him up as high as maybe 85 or 90 if things go very well tonight. In the dirt for a ball. Pagan works the count to 3-1. Astros are 12-2 when their starting pitcher is either Dallas Keuchel or Colin McHugh. Double play ball, Valbuena, Altuve, and Carter for the second time tonight. Turn 2.
I'm enjoying watching Valbuena down there at third base here early in the season. He's got some pop in that bat. The average may not jump at you, but what this guy is doing on defense is pretty darn solid to amazing with some of the plays he's been able to make. That's such a help to your pitcher who might be struggling a little bit.
Well, you're a guy who played that position quite a bit, so that's a compliment coming from you. But yeah, we've been kind of wondering where he ranks, so we're checking on some defensive metrics to bring you when we get them. There's Buster Posey looking at ball 1. It just seems that he has a lot of range at third base, Plummer.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed is how athletic he is down there at third base. But I mean, the man is laying out. He's making plays going quite a ways to his left. Balls are smoked at him. He's on.
There's a shot through the right side. It was wide open for Posey, and he took it there hard, and he's 2 for 2 tonight. Brings up Maxwell.
It's good pro batting right there by Posey. Not trying to do too much.
He's a skilled hitter, isn't he?
He is. You wonder if some of these hitters see the shifts on and if they're trying to go that way. I'm not sure if you can go up to the plate and say, I'm going to do whatever it takes to hit the ball that way. I think what some of these guys are doing is maybe some pitch recognition and able to see a pitch they're able to go that way with and tell themselves, if I get this pitch on the outer third or he makes a mistake out over the plate, I'm just going to drive it that way like you just saw Buster Posey do. Because more often than not, the pitcher's going to try and pitch into that shift.
Maxwell falls behind 0-2 to J-Max.
You see Buster, I don't think he's looking to hit the ball hard, but I think he's saying to himself, if I get a pitch up, out over the plate, and I can drive it the other way with my normal swing, I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of it. But that's what good hitters do, is take advantage of mistakes.
Now, on the other hand, if you're wearing an Astros uniform and you leave that hole on the right side open and Posey takes one through there with a 2-out single, you might be saying that's all right with us.
And that's what doesn't get talked about a lot, Brownie. That's a very good thing to say, because you're trying to get the out, yes, by shifting those guys and getting in where they hit a majority of their ground balls. But at the same time, you're much happier with him getting a base hit as opposed to hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
It's still going to require, well, a couple of singles to score him. An extra base hit probably score him. In the dirt now, he heads for second base, so he does advance on what would be ruled a wild pitch, probably. That helps the Giant cause. And it's 2-2 to Maxwell.
Castro doing everything he can. Back-to-back sliders in the dirt. It's a lot to ask of a catcher, especially when it bounces that far out in front of home plate. Try and absorb the bounce, but sometimes it ricochets.
5 hits for the Giants, 1 hit for the Astros. And time is called now. Maxwell, a man with enormous talent, came up with Washington, a 4th-round pick in 05. Had his share of injuries along the way, but we saw in 2012 with the Astros how much power he had, good speed. And 3-2 now. He has not had good discipline at the plate in his career. 224 career average, 95 walks, 295 strikeouts. This year, his number is a little bit better, though. Belt is on deck. That's strike 3 call, and Obi works around some problems in the third. Gets his 3rd strikeout. No runs, 2 hits, and a man left. 2 double plays in the last 2 innings for Obi, and a 1-0 Giant lead. Every single Astros starter, including pitcher Mike Hampton, had a multi-hit game. The Astros bang out 24 hits and score 15 runs in a win over the Rockies. And Jeff Blum had a pair of doubles and drove in 5.
Good old days, Brownie.
What a game.
That was. You look at the score right there, 13, 14 to 5, and that's in the 7th inning. It ended up being 15 to 11. Typical Colorado evening.
Jason Castro takes ball 1 from Tim Hudson. 1-0 Giants. 224 for Castro. 3 homers, 6 runs batted in. You know, Hudson and Colby Rasmus were both born in Columbus, Georgia. Pretty good age differential, though. Tim is 39. Colby is 28. 1 ball, 1 strike to Castro. Castro, with those numbers, he made one of the best throws of the season for him last night on that throw to second base and the caught stealing. Didn't you think so?
That was real good. I think he's fine on the catch and release. I think he's got great footwork behind home plate, but that throw always seems to be right on the money, making it easy on those middle infielders to drop that tag.
Last year, Tim Hudson became the oldest pitcher to start a Game 7 of the World Series.
That'll be one he's bragging about for a while.
Yeah. Fouled away. 1-2. Have you ever seen a one-man show in the World Series like the one put on by Madison Bumgarner last year?
No. Probably a long time before we see that matched, too. That was pretty incredible. Get on my back, boys. Take you to the promised land.
Well, Hudson didn't last too long, but nonetheless, the Giants were victorious. Inside. 2-2, so it worked out well. Tim is the 3rd oldest starting pitcher in the majors this year, behind Bartolo Colon, who's 41, and R.A. Dickey, who's 40. And he has not had much run support this year. 10 runs of support in his 5 starts, 5th lowest in the majors.
That makes it tough to pitch.
Well, because he's not a big strikeout guy, so things have to go really well with the ground balls being hit at people for everything to work out for Tim, right?
Yeah, he does a good job with his sinker. I remember when I faced him over at Oakland, he had that sinker was coming in there 92, 94 miles an hour, but he had this amazing split that he'd fire up there in the mid to upper 80s a little bit, and he was real tough to hit. He could punch you out. He could get a ground ball when he needed it.
Castro puts it in the air and goes out of play.
But you look at his ground ball percentages, they're just the same now as they were back then. So still has good movement on that fastball.
Well, his career numbers against the Astros are just about the best. 1.24 ERA. There's only one active major league pitcher with a lower career ERA against Houston than Tim. 50 innings or more, and that is Tim Lincecum, his teammate, 0.99. Castro looks at it. 3-2 now. Hudson was with the Braves in 05 when facing the Astros in that division series. He started that 18-inning game here. A shot to center field. Pagan moving in for it. Sliding play. That ball was crushed. And that's been the story all too often for Jason Castro's liking this season.
Jason's got to start playing with a rabbit's foot in his back pocket or something, because he's having great at bats, doing a good job of squaring some of these balls up. But to hit a ball that hard and have it hang up that long should be rewarded a little bit. I think that even surprised Pagan that it got out there on a line that far.
Now Chris Carter was strike 1. Carter dropped to the number 8 spot for this game. 147, 5 homers, 12 runs batted in for Carter. Corey Kluber's had quite a game so far. 18 punch-outs through 8 innings for Cleveland tonight. He had a no-hitter for a while. No balls, 2 strikes. 18. He is looking for his first win of the year.
Wow. What's more shocking, the 18 strikeouts or the first win of the year for Kluber?
Yeah, could be both. Carter's down on strikes. That's the 49th time he has whiffed this year. Strikeout number 2 for Hudson. Very tough start for Chris, with actually almost identical home run and run batted in numbers to a year ago.
Yeah, but Hudson's not going to give him anything to hit. He's going to continue to work off the edges with Chris Carter, and that slider you see with that late break is going to make it real tough for Chris tonight.
And Jonathan VR getting the call at shortstop tonight. Marwin Gonzalez was the shortstop last night. VR fouls it for strike one. 182 for VR. No homers, 1 RBI. Marwin Gonzalez, well, for his last 16 now. VR is hitting .294 as a left-handed batter for just 17 at bats. Gonzalez 180 left-handed. Resnick's on deck.
It's a bit of a void at shortstop right now offensively.
Jed Lowry was so good until he got hurt. He had an OPS of .999.
He was doing some good things.
Hard for anybody to measure up to that. There's a swing by VR and a 1-2 count. Carlos Correa got a hit in his AAA debut last night. He went 1 for 5 at Albuquerque for Fresno. Chop toward third and foul for Casey McGee. 1-2.
Probably plenty more of those had for Correa, if I had to guess.
Oh yeah, a lot of people would be guessing right there with you. Samuel Deduno is getting loose in the Astros bullpen right now. Not sure if there's a need for another pitcher to warm up, or that's just him getting in a little work. VR strikes out, and Hudson has faced the minimum through 3. He allowed a hit, but followed that with a double play ball, and he leads it 1-0.
Pitch is brought to you by Steel Dealers. It was Oberholzer working against Giants first baseman Brandon Belt. See him starting them off with the soft stuff. Great pitch down and away. Change up right there, down in the zone, gets a swing and miss, and then he goes to work on that 0-2 count. Bounces one, seeing if Belt will chase, and eventually gets him on that cut fastball on the outside corner. Good pitch by Oberholzer, but he's not here anymore.
We don't know why, but Samuel Deduno has come out of the bullpen. 0-1 with a 6.63 ERA, 1 save in 8 appearances. He worked an inning last night, so probably would not be asked to stay in this game too long. He pitched the 9th in an 8-1 loss. He had a quick inning, and he only threw 10 pitches. So as he comes in, this Giant lineup has been set up for a left-handed pitcher. And now it'll be Belt, Susac, and McGee against the righty Deduno. Belt struck out with 2 men on to end the first inning. Oberholzer going 3, giving up 5 hits, 1 run, walking 2, fanning 3 tonight. Fouled away. He was convinced that the blister problem on his finger had been healed. He had a callus on there. So we didn't see any apparent signs of what the injury was, did we?
Not that I could see.
Belt swings through that one. No balls, 2 strikes. I went up to Samuel Deduno today. I said, we get all these pitching charts on everybody on the Astros, and they have you down for throwing 0.0% fastballs this year. Is that possible? And he laughed. He said, that's not right.
A little miscalculation there.
Yeah. Rolled out and into the shift. It's Altuve to his right. On over to first. Sometimes the statisticians classify a cut fastball as, you know, something different than a fastball, so maybe that's the reason. Not sure, but anyway, kind of an oddity, which he completely disclaimed. And now Susak will be the batter.
Well, I know what part of my ex-playing self would say to that.
What's that?
Got these guys that never played the game.
Okay.
Tracking pitches, so there might be a little bit of confusion between the cutter and the fastball.
Fly ball out to left field. Rasmus backing up. Well, you put anybody who didn't play the game back there behind home plate to chart the game, you're going to have some issues, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a real interesting game for those guys to watch from behind home plate, having never stepped in that box and understand what these guys are trying to do to the baseball. You got to watch this movement. You got to watch the velocity. There's a lot of things going on.
Even when you're hitting, and let's say you get a hit or you make an out, and you come back in, are you absolutely positive what pitch that was you hit?
Oh my gosh, no. No, there's some guys. It's was that a split finger? Was that a changeup? Some guys have both. But you can usually tell the difference between a slider and a breaking ball pretty good. But there's many a conversation in that dugout. And speaking of ex-Astro Hunter Pence, who had come back, and he hit a home run, I remember, up into the train tracks, and me and Jason Michaels are down there. We're like, how did you hit that? And Hunter says, I was sitting slider. What do you mean? And we're like, what do you think you hit out? He goes, it was a slider. It said 95 miles an hour on the board. So there are times where you're so locked in and you hit a ball so well that you have no idea what it was.
1 ball, 1 strike. We get the announcement on the injury to Obi, a blister.
Wow, that's disappointing for him.
It's tough. It's tough. Because after all the time he took off for that skin to heal, now it's recurred after 2 minor league injury rehab starts. So obviously more time off will be in the offing.
There's not enough super glue down there to keep those wounds shut.
Inside, and it's 3-1. Sam Deduno is 31 years old. Kind of guy who always has a broad smile on his face coming into work every day. Great disposition. He's been a starter and a reliever. He's just happy to do whatever is asked. Ground ball hit through the left side. McGee's on with a 2-out single. Let's go back to Hunter Pence in August of 2012.
He puts everything into his swings. Ball's in the air a long time.
It was.
My goodness.
Very exciting player.
Pop like that makes it dangerous to be a train engineer.
Now Brandon Crawford comes up. Crawford single to left in the 2nd inning. I compare a little bit as far as the attitude and the approach of George Springer to Hunter Pence in terms of their intensity, their pregame intensity. There's strike 1.
And the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Both guys that love going out there and playing the game.
Strong similarities in their makeup. They have some strong idle speed when just standing there doing nothing.
Just waiting to burst.
Ground ball goes foul. No balls, 2 strikes to Crawford. That's very disappointing, though, for Brett Oberholzer after all the work he put in to get ready for the season, the injuries he had in the spring. Now once again a blister problem in his very first start back with Houston.
And you hear about it a lot from pitchers having those blister issues. I'm not sure if it's one of those things that starts and just continues to reoccur throughout the season, if there's ways to combat that.
In the dirt.
But that could explain some of maybe the control issues he had throwing his pitches in there.
Excellent point.
Because he didn't look incredibly sharp. Battled out of some situations, getting double play balls.
True. Well, now what comes next we'll find out in the days to come. But Asher Wojciechowski was just sent back to AAA Fresno. He's been here.
That guy's getting to know himself some airports.
He is putting on some serious air miles this year. Grounded and wide of first base. Still 1-2. Washington got 4 in the 9th and beat Arizona 9-6 today. And that Washington club has been very interesting. It's been a roller coaster ride for Matt Williams' bunch, but now they've climbed above 500 and they're 19-16. Although Steven Strasburg seems to be having some health problems again. Foul back. Still 1-2. Apparently he has some back issues. He went to a chiropractor and felt better, but that may have been the problem last night, forcing him out of the game.
It's a good thing they've got some depth in that rotation.
They certainly do. Very wise not to have traded somebody like Tanner Roark.
That is very true.
That one did hit him. Yeah, it looked like it did. So Crawford's hit by a pitch. And now runners at first and second with Aoki coming up. You know, we look at teams in spring training and see a club like Washington with an abundance of starting pitching. There's the right ankle area where it grazed him off that shin pad, it appeared. And wonder if they'll trade somebody. You know, maybe there's a guy in the last year of his contract and they have 4 younger guys or 5 younger guys ready to go in the rotation, but they didn't budge, and they can be very happy that they didn't. Aoki has hit the ball on the ground twice. This one getting away from Castro, not very far, on ball 1.
Nice stop by Jim Joyce. Helping out Castro on that one.
We had a replay review last night involving Jim Joyce, the umpire at first base, and his call was overturned on a close call. A.J. Hinch saying today when he was asked about that, the umpires have been great about this whole process. One ball, one strike. Aoki reminds some people probably of Ichiro, the way he distributes his weight, waits back and then slaps at the ball and almost gets a running start on his way to first base.
Minus the 2,500 hits.
Well, that's true. There is a difference or two between the two.
Yeah, similar styles. Always look like they're on the move to first as they're swinging.
This one skips by, and the runners move up on a pitch that bounced well out in front of the plate. So Deduno's been in the dirt with several of his offerings here. And the wild pitch sends McGee to third and Crawford to second.
Yeah, got those first 2 outs relatively easy. And these last hitters, McKay with the base hit and then a hit by pitch. But as you said, some of these pitches missing badly.
Aoki takes, that's in for a strike, 2-2.
When he comes back and does that on a 2-1 count, it's pretty nasty.
He can be confounding, can he?
That locked up by Aoki.
Duno has been the height of unpredictability in this inning. Marisnick shading to left center. Down, and it's 3-2 now with Duffy on deck. And command has certainly been one issue throughout Samuel's career. Coming into this season, he had walked 144 in 293 innings. But when he's got it, he can stay in for a while and be very effective.
Yeah, I think that having that much movement on his fastball makes it tough.
That's ball 4. Now the bases are loaded. Got the first 2 outs quickly, and then a single, a hit batter, now a walk, bring up Duffy with 3 men on.
Just not the guy you want to have at the plate in this brief 2-game series with runners on. 5 RBIs last night for Duffy. Bases clearing double in a similar situation yesterday.
Yep. That was in the 2nd inning, and that gave the Giants a 3-0 lead. Brent Strom out to the mound. And then he had a 2-run single in the 5th.
Join the Astros this Saturday for our 8th annual Bayou Bash presented by HEB. The Bash is open from 3 to 6 p.m. on the Crawford Street Plaza and features live music from Low Cash. Tons of crawfish, cold beer, and activities for all ages. To purchase tickets, visit Astros.com/Bayou Bash or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Sounds like a great time this Saturday. And stay for the Dallas Keuchel Gnome night.
Ooh, even better.
Now Matt Duffy, bases loaded, 2 outs, 1-0. And he looks at strike 1. He has a walk and a single in this game after that big game last night. The Astros are honoring local police forces tonight. It's 0-2 to Duffy. It's a part of National Police Week. They've invited over 2,000 police officers and their families to the game at no charge. HPD Assistant Chief Charlie Vasquez threw out the first pitch. Glad to have them with us. They are watching the key point in this ball game right now. Bases loaded, 1-run lead for the Giants. 2 outs and an 0-2 count. I was looking for one maybe down around there, and that's been tough for Castro to handle tonight. 1-2.
A lot of pressure in the situation too. But Duno got ahead early on 2 breaking balls. Throwing that 3rd one to see if he'll chase again.
Duffy's 24. Has a big opportunity. He's hit very well this season with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Grounds that one foul. Well, we had the feeling last night of a potential turning point in a game when it was in the 5th inning and the Giants led 3-1, and they turned it their way. The Astros failed to make some plays in that inning. To Marisnick in center, and Duno gets a very big out in this game. Out of bases loaded trouble. No runs, a hit, 3 men stranded, 1-0 Giants.
want to say congratulations to Katie St. Clair for winning our first Where is Orbit prize pack with her submission via Twitter. You can still win by posting your pictures with Orbit on social media, tagging the Astros and your cable or satellite provider, and using the hashtag #WhereIsOrbit to enter. Head to Astros.com/WhereIsOrbit for more info. That was a great pick, guys.
Thank you, Julia. It's 1-0. The Giants and Tim Hudson lead the Astros. Here's the bottom of the 4th inning. Jake Marisnick batting. Second time through the order. Here's strike 1 to Jake. He grounded the shortstop in the first. The Astros now have 4 hits in 66 at bats. The last 2 games plus 3 innings of this one. Saturday they won the game in Anaheim over the Angels, getting 6 runs early, but they didn't get a hit after the 3rd inning. The last 22 Astros were retired in order last night. Same thing a week ago last night. Last 22 men in order retired. So they have just not been really creating any kind of traffic on the bases in recent games.
Sounds like Tuesday's a good time to leave the roof open and get a rain out.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, pretty much a team slump.
Well, it's just amazing to me how well they play in wins and how awful it is in losses.
Yeah.
Such a huge discrepancy in the numbers. Batting averages way low. Obviously, the runs produced are extremely low.
Slowly to third. McGee coming in. Throws low, but safe. Despite a good play by Belt, Marisnick hustled and got the safe call from Greg Gibson.
Kid can fly. Jake Marisnick, you can't, I'm not sure if you can tell on TV or not, but the guy's about 6'5". Long, lanky strides. So right here with that chopper, you can see that he could smell that hit on the way down the line. Good job of sprinting through the bag. That's all McGahee can do.
This may be challenged. Bruce Bochy's walking slowly out toward the home plate umpire, Jim Joyce.
Watch the glove. It's hard to see the ball go in, but it looks like Belt has a hold of that baseball before Marisnick's foot hits the bag.
They're going to challenge it and review the play. So Jim Joyce will put on the headsets. The call at first was made by Greg Gibson. He'll also grab a headset. And this helps with the crew in New York so that Greg Gibson can explain what he saw. That is really close.
That is real close. Tough to tell.
Boy.
But again, a good time to challenge, too, if you're going to go out there and take a chance.
Well, leadoff man in an inning, that is an excellent time in a 1-0 game to challenge.
Top of the Astros lineup. We know Marisnick can run quite well. Well, remember, there's got to be evidence that can overturn this call.
Here's an explanation now from one of the Major League umpires about why 2 umpires are on headsets in the review process.
The crew chief involved. I mean, that's his crew. He runs the crew. So it's his responsibility of the crew. So he's one guy on the headset at all times. The other person on the headset is the calling umpire, just in case he needs to give a little more information to the other umpire in New York, saying, hey, I have him tagging him on top of the helmet. If you get a replay, see if he got him on the helmet. Or, you know, I saw the fan reaching over the fence. If you see him, he touched it, but it got underneath his arm. Just maybe a little bit of more information that they can converse about from New York to wherever on the field.
That is umpire Chris Guccione, who came into the Root Sports studio over the winter to go over various scenarios. So it's not this particular one, but that explains why they have 2 umpires on the headsets.
More information, the better.
Well, the process has worked very well, and this is certainly one of those plays that's tough for us to call. We've seen it a few times already.
It's got to be the best angle. It almost looks as if that ball's rattling around in Belt's glove. I wonder if that's going to have an impact on how they make this call. Because it looks like right there the ball is in the glove, but does he have enough control to overturn this call?
That's a tough one to see because we can't see the glove from that angle. We did see it from the other angle, and it did appear to be moving around a little bit. Out is the call, so the Astros lose a base runner as the call is overturned. It's a 5-3 out number 1. Well, Bochy was successful on his challenge, and he'll get to use it again if he chooses. Jose Altuve's the batter. He has the only Houston hit. That was a sharp single to left field in the first inning. You know, it's taken a lot of arguments out of the game, though, to have this process. Popped up. And here's Susak coming back. 2 outs.
Jack in the Box takes us inside the box score. Brownie was talking about some of the numbers dropping off a little bit. Injuries have a tendency to play in that a little bit. Jed Lowry was off to an extremely good start. See, with him in the lineup, he adds a whole nother at-bat, creates a little more depth in that lineup, but he was having such good at-bats in key situations for the Astros, hitting behind Altuve and Balbuena when they were swinging the bats well with runners on base. It just really set the tone and now has created a real void in that Astros lineup.
Ball 1 to Balbuena. He bounced into a 4-6-3 double play.
And in saying that, I don't expect VR or Marwin Gonzalez to go out there and match what Jed Lowry was doing offensively. If they could just produce half as much as what he was doing out there, you would expect the middle part of the order for the Astros to pick up some of the slack where Jed Lowry left off. Those are the guys you count on, not the VRs, not the Gonzalez's. Their initial job is to go out there and play good, solid defense, get as many outs on defense as they can, and contribute every now and then on offense.
Balbuena has worked his way in front in the count. 2-0 to Luis. Well, and you know, Jed Lowry was doing so well. Well, that is ball 4. So that's the first walk of the night for Hudson. But you know, part of that plays into the hitters around him. What were they doing in addition to what Jed Lowry was doing? And in addition to these guys who played in his place, what's the rest of the team doing? The rest of the team's been slumping.
Yeah, big time.
Now Springer, who struck out in the second inning. George had 3 homers in his last 11 games when he got hurt. Strike 1 to Springer. Corey Kluber wound up with a gem tonight. 8 innings of 1-hit shutout ball against St. Louis with no walks and 18 strikeouts. Cody Allen got his 5th save of the year, and the Indians win 2-0 over St. Louis. A 1-hitter. John Lackey, the loser. 1-1.
Tough luck loser.
Lackey giving up 2 runs in 5 1/3. That Cardinal team's been on fire. Tough to slow them down, but he took a powerful game, and that's what Kluber did. The defending Cy Young Award winner getting his first win of the season on May 13th. And the Cleveland Indians, boy, that entire team out of the gate very slowly. 2 balls and a strike. Cleveland is now 12-20.
I want to say Kluber had a slow start last year, but not to this extreme.
True.
This is extremely slow, and like you said, it's team wide up there in Cleveland.
3 balls and a strike now to Springer. George has drawn 18 walks, and that has boosted his on-base average to 311 despite the 192 batting average coming into this game tonight.
Like to see him stay within himself right here. 3-1 count. You know he wants to make a loud splash coming back, but just nice solid drive up the middle.
3-2. Now Balbuena with 2 outs will be setting sail on the next pitch.
And I'm okay with Springer taking that pitch right there. Don't want to span the zone, swing at something you're not looking for, so I like the discipline.
It was a very good pitch for Hudson. Belt will play off the bag. Balbuena goes, and it's ball 4. Springer takes a walk. Back-to-back walks for Hudson, bringing up Rasmus. Here's the 18th punch out of the night for Kluber.
Some velocity. Such good life in that arm from Kluber. But that's what Indian fans have been waiting for, seeing that guy showing up.
Yeah, they were 5-11 at home before that win tonight. Now Rasmus. Colby hit a fly ball to left field in the second inning. And strike one. Baltimore leads Toronto 5-0. They're in the top of the 8th at Baltimore. Toronto headed this way after that game. The game score for Kluber is 98. That's the highest for an 8-inning start in the last 100 years. They give pitchers a game score based on a lot of different stats. Bounce to first, but foul. I don't know what Kerry Wood's game score was against the Astros when he struck out 20, but it was right around that area also. Just incredible. It's a combination of innings pitched and hits allowed and walks and strikeouts usually.
He gave up one hit in that game?
Yeah.
And that was questionable.
Yes, it
also
was.
At the time, if I remember.
You are correct, sir. Third baseman didn't play it very cleanly. And it was a one-hitter with 20 punch-outs and no walks. Evan Gattis on deck. Rasmus takes one in the dirt. 1-2 for Tim Hudson. Very good competitor. Art Howe on the pregame show talked about having managed him with Oakland, and he has had many high moments in his career. And the fact that he would still be pitching at age 39 tells you that he still is very anxious to compete at the highest level. Last year he was 9-13, but he had a 3.57 ERA.
The Astros have got themselves in a good spot. 2 runners on, and Rasmus hits well off him.
There it is. That's a knock to center field. A go-ahead for Valbuena to come home. The throw way off, and the Astros tie it 1-1. Rasmus with a 1-2 pitch and 2 outs in the inning, getting a key hit for Houston, his 13th run batted in. He's now 7 for 16 lifetime against Hudson. 2 homers, 5 runs batted in.
Right man, right spot. That's that changeup. You can see that circle change grip with those 3 fingers wrapped around the baseball, trying to get that down in the way action. But for whatever reason, Colby Rasmus is a guy that sees it pretty well. Took advantage of it.
Such a big hit there to tie the game and put runners at the corners for Evan Gattis. He rolled out to Hudson his first time up. First time Gattis has faced Hudson. Both former Braves. And it's in tight ball 1. Hudson is the pitcher who has started both postseason games that have gone 18 innings in history. Pitched that San Francisco 2-1 win in 18 over Washington last fall, and pitched the game here 7 innings in the 18-inning Atlanta loss to Houston on the Chris Burke home run 0-5. Kerry Wood's game score in that 20 strikeout game against the Astros in '98 was 105. And many people feel, even though it was a one-hitter, that is one of the best games ever pitched.
Watching video of that, it's a miracle they even made contact of what Kerry Wood was doing that day.
True. That was his 5th major league start.
Set the bar a little high too early, huh? Wow.
Just bangs it off his leg. 2 balls, 1 strike. Astros as a team were hitting .224 with runners in scoring position at the start of this game tonight. In Hudson's first 10 major league seasons, he reached double figures in wins. In 2000 with Oakland, he was 20-6. Tommy John surgery way back in '09. Gaddis puts it up the right field line. It's slicing and going foul. Long run for Maxwell. In that Blue Jays Orioles game, 6-1 Baltimore in the bottom of the 8th inning. But Toronto will be heading here after that one. They started Sanchez tonight. And Baltimore had Miguel Gonzalez on the mound, pitching very well.
Night game in Baltimore. Travel down here and play tomorrow night.
Late arrival.
That's a tough schedule.
The Jays were picked by some of us to win the AL East. That doesn't look great right now. Gaddis is called out. And the strikeout for Hudson is number 4. The Astros get a run with a 2-out rally on 1 hit. They leave 2. It's 1-1.
And the Giants, and it's time for a progressive fan of the game. I have Officer Pavel, and I have Officer Molina, and they get this. You guys get to share this, unfortunately. But it is National Police Week. I don't even think you guys knew that, but the Astros are recognizing the police officers in the Houston area. These guys are from HPD, but work in Kingwood. Are you having a good time?
Kingwood.
Are you having a good time?
Oh, yes. Awesome time. Best time.
What does it mean for you guys, for the Astros, to hook you up with some tickets? I heard almost 2,000 of you got free tickets tonight.
We appreciate it. It's hard for us to come out because we work so much and stuff like that. And for them to offer something like that is very nice for them.
We appreciate everything that you guys do. Here you go. Share this back. Brownie, up to you.
Thanks, Julia. Great to have them with us tonight. It's a 1-1 game they're watching with Angel Pagan leading it off. Showing bunt and taking ball 1 from Sam Deduno. Pagan 0 for 2. Brett Oberholzer threw 54 pitches before leaving with that blister problem on his finger. And now he will get a no decision, with Deduno becoming the pitcher of record as of now. And the question being, how long will he be asked to pitch? We don't have the answer to that after he pitched 1 inning last night. 2-0. And he said if he has long periods in between appearances in the pen, he will try to do a little extra work, but it's tough because each night he has to be available. So he can't do too long a bullpen before a game. Usually the way a long reliever would do that, as you well know, Blummer, is to wait until about the 7th inning or so. And then he can throw a little bit more, figuring that he would not be used. But there's always the possibility of extra innings.
Yeah, make sure you're in the clear. It's not an easy spot being that swing man, long guy in the bullpen. Like you said, Brian, you can't, there's really no routine you can get into. You can just kind of feel out the game. Throw a little bit later in games, but you may not do nothing or do anything for 3 or 4 games, and all of a sudden you're thrust out there and they're asking you to go 5 innings after a guy comes out in an injury.
And that's the tough part of it, maintaining the stamina to be able to do that. Just checking on the Fresno game tonight at Albuquerque. Asher Wojciechowski is starting that game for Fresno. He is given up 4 hits and 2 runs in 2 innings so far. Now Pagan has worked the count full leading off the 5th. And Carlos Correa in the game is 1 for 1 with a double. John Singleton is really heated up. He's hit his 10th homer tonight. He's been unloading a flurry of home runs in the last few days. Fouled away. Singleton's up to 265. His average was in the 220s not too many days ago.
Tell you what, if he was hitting about 320, 330 with 10 home runs, he might be getting a phone call.
He might be. The shot toward right center field. Wide open spaces out there. A long run for both outfielders. He'll roll up on a portion of Taos Hill, and that gives Pagan a chance to get to third easily without a play. Leadoff triple by Pagan, his 3rd triple of the year.
Pagan's a guy that can roll once he gets going. Shot that right center field gap nicely and rolled it up onto Taos Hill.
50 triples in his career.
It's a pretty good number. But I bet you there was some question behind Pagan whether or not he was going to go and try for the inside the park home run. Deepest part of the ballpark out there. He's got his head down running. You can see how smooth he is moving around the bases. But that last glimpse right there told me that he was thinking about it.
Now he's the 3rd for Buster Posey, the infield laying back. Strike 1. Posey is 2 for 2 with an RBI in this game. The Astros will concede the run on a ground ball to get the out. Still only the 5th inning, and the choice is to try to prevent a big inning by playing the infielders this way. 1-1. If it's later in the game, it's a different story.
Let's see what that last pitch was.
Pretty good on that chart.
Yeah, high, but a strike.
Good stab there on a wide pitch. Castro had to reach way out to get it. 2-1. You know, you think about Jim Joyce, maybe, if you've followed baseball for a few years. He's the home plate umpire tonight. We had a replay review last night involving him at first. There's that snag by Castro, and a few years ago he was the unfortunate umpire who made the bad call, costing Armando Galarraga the perfect game with Detroit. And if only he had been able to be overruled on that one, he could have avoided all the tough times he went through. So I think for the umpires individually, this is a much better system now. Or a Don Denkinger in the 1985 Kansas City St. Louis World Series could have been spared the death threats and all the things he went through.
Well, I was going to say that the traditionalist is going to say you're taking away the human error, but at the same time you might be saving some people's emotional treachery that they had to go through. Because you talked about Denkinger, who got the death threats. What about what Jim Joyce went through in that whole Galarraga situation? He was in tears the next day when he had to tell that young man that he blew a call on a perfect game for him.
Yeah, felt terrible. Will Harris is warming up for the Astros now. That one almost hit him. 3-2. Castro's having a rough time catching DeDuno.
It's turning into a hockey goalie back there. Doesn't know where it's going, where it's coming from. Just be ready to knock it down.
Well, the saying about the way a good hockey goalie plays, if he has an outstanding game, he stands on his head. He's almost literally having to do that a few times here tonight. That's whacked high toward the left field seats. And the Giants on a Posey 2-run homer grab a 3-1 lead. Number 5 of the season for Posey. He's 3 for 3 in this game. He's driven in all 3 for the Giants, giving him 14 runs batted in. And it's a triple and a homer to start the 5th for San Francisco.
Missing location. I'd like to see a little bit better pitch on a 3-2 count than a hanging breaking ball. Hitter like Buster Posey's got plenty of time to see it, plenty of time to get his hands back and react to this.
Justin Maxwell's next. He's 1 for 2. Ground ball, and here's VR, but cutting in front of it, Valbuena. 1 out.
Realistically, most hitters with a guy at third base less than 2 outs are looking for a pitch to elevate. I think you got a pretty good idea that a hanging breaking ball is pretty easy to elevate and drive.
Belt has struck out and he's grounded out. In the dirt, ball 1. The Dodgers are going to be tough to catch. They're 22-10. In the NL West for a .688 winning percentage, 5.5 in front of the Giants right now. They appear to be a juggernaut this year, with a very high payroll to go with it. 1-1. It appears that keeping all the outfielders has worked out very well for them, because Carl Crawford's been down right now, but Andre Ethier is cashing in on his chance to play every day.
How about the youngster out there too, and Jock Peterson?
He is a very good one.
My goodness, they've got some firepower out west.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The Astros will be playing the Dodgers later on. In interleague play, they have drawn the NL West this year, including Colorado and Arizona. And they've already swept San Diego in a great series. Foul back.
A very good hitting San Diego Padre team too. That was a good series.
That's another outfield to watch with 3 people they have placed in those outfield positions for this year. Created a lot of excitement around San Diego with the moves over the winter and how they bumped up the payroll. They're playing 500 balls so far. Belt looks at ball 2. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. What do you make of the Troy Tulowitzki situation in Colorado now?
Pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. The story is he and his agent are to meet, or may have met today, to decide whether to request a trade from the Rockies. Well, that's all they could do, request. He can't demand anything contractually. According to reports, 6 years to go on his contract, $110 million. And if he's traded, a no trade clause kicks in for the next team.
Something to think about. You're going to make a trade for Tulowitzki.
It's a major commitment.
Well, the contract's a major commitment. He's shown himself to be injury prone in the last couple of years too. So keeping him healthy and on the field to retain the value of that contract is probably a big question too. But that's interesting that the no trade, that's a kicker, isn't it, on the back end?
That's a big kick in the pants, in fact.
Yeah, it could be.
And if you're the Rockies now, you have so much payroll concentrated in Tulo and Carlos Gonzalez, who's hitting 188 right now. It kind of hamstrings any other moves you might want to make with the team, right?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not in some of those meetings trying to figure out where we can cut some payroll, where we can move guys to create some situations where free agency could be a little bit more fun. But I think Tulowitzki's ceiling is still relatively high too. I mean, he's going to move somewhere else if he does, and he's going to produce. It's just a matter for me of him being able to be healthy. And you got to find somebody who's willing to eat that contract.
Belt strikes out, 2 outs. Will the New York Mets do that?
That is one team that would be able to do it.
One team that could send some prospects the Rockies' way. But with that kind of an onerous contract, why would a team want to give up prospects on top of taking on the load of the contract financially?
I'm not sure. Be a lot of analyzing going on behind closed doors, trying to figure out how to justify that trade. It may involve fewer prospects, more money.
Now there's a strike to Susac, who's 0 for 2. You saw the standings a moment ago in the NL East. The Mets with the identical record as the Astros, 20-13, and both of them thrust into contention at this early stage, and people are already conjecturing about deals they should make. Very interesting development here early in 2015.
Isn't that fun when you have a winning ball club? That's the first thing they do, is they want to go out and who can we get to make us that much better?
Sure. Usually May is not a month when too many trades are made. Not to say it couldn't happen. 1 and 2. June, yeah, that's kind of when trades start to enter the scene more, because it's far enough into the season that Major League general managers have a better feel for their clubs and what they think they need to do.
Well, it's interesting too. It seems like June is that time where some GMs will go out and make that move to prevent another team from getting a guy that they want.
True. Here's Rasmus in left center with a running catch. 2-run score on the homer by Posey. The Giants lead at 3-1 in the 5th.
As we enter the bottom of the 5th, celebrate the Astros' best start since 1986 with a special ticket promotion. Grab limited lower level and 200 level seats for $19.86 for Monday through Thursday games in the month of May. For more information, visit Astros.com/1986 or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. A lot of home games in May. Get out here.
Nice homestand just starting last night. 4 games with Toronto coming up next, then 3 with Oakland. Jason Castro's the batter. 3-1 Giants. He shoots one out into right center field. A high flyer for Castro. Castro has hit it out again. That is 2 in 2 games for Castro. Earlier, he lined a drive to center field, caught by Pagan. This time a play nobody could make, and Castro hits his 4th home run. Very well hit ball twice tonight for Castro.
Yeah, one line drive gets caught. This line drive has enough carry to get off the top of the wall and gets a fortuitous bounce into the seats. Good sinker down. Tough to elevate guys that have that much sink on the baseball, but you can see this one about mid-thigh, and Castro has been barreling it up off the top of that bullpen wall. One step closer to tying this thing up.
Now a 1-run lead, and Carter took the pitch. Ball 1 to Chris. He struck out earlier. Line drive hit into left field for Carter. The Astros had back-to-back hits for the first time in this game. Starting to get some better swings off Hudson this time around.
Such a good noise off the bat. Push those guys with good sinkers early in the count's a good time to attack them. Maybe just trying to throw that get me over sinker to get ahead in the count. But it looked like Castro went out there over that outer third of the plate, yanked it.
It's the 7th homer allowed by Hudson this season. He's in his 45th inning. Jonathan VR will follow. He struck out in the 3rd. This liner goes into left center. Carter hesitated. He'll get to second base. And 3 consecutive hits have the Astros in business from the bottom of the order. Turning it over to Marisnick next.
A couple of pitches getting elevated now off of Tim Hudson. I wonder if fatigue is setting in a little bit. Not that good depth. Pitches up in the zone, and Astro hitters doing a good job of barreling the ball up in this inning right now to get things started. Good swings, great to contact, staying through that. All 3 balls hit this inning have been hit well.
Marisnick is 0 for 2. Corner infielders seem to be expecting a bunt from him. George Contos, a right-hander, is warming up for the Giants. Marisnick has grounded to short and to 3rd. Not bunting. It's ball 1.
Yeah, Chris Carter got a hit in this inning too. Head down. He got himself a hanging slider. But right here, that's what you call throwing the barrel at it. Squared it up nicely.
5 hits for the Astros. They've hit 143 in the previous week. Marisnick takes ball 2. I really like the fact that he has not been given the bunt sign here.
It's one of the Astros' hottest hitter. You'd hate to take the bat out of his hands, giving him that bunt. And with what Hudson's done this inning, get a guy like Marisnick who's swinging the bat well. If he gets a mistake, driving a run.
There's a little shot caught at third base. Tough luck there for Marisnick right in the game. 1 out. Now still, Marisnick did a nice job.
That's where baseball becomes not fun. Get yourself in a good hitter's count. Put a tough pitch in on the hands. Smoke it right at the third baseman.
Now it's Altuve. 1 for 2. If Marisnick had sacrificed, would they have walked Altuve, do you think? Leading by 1 here?
We saw it on the road trip. And I would have to venture a guess that they would have.
There's ball 1. Why not play for a big inning with a homer and 2 singles? Then to have a guy hitting .316 put down a sacrifice bunt seems to be conceding a lot there. So that did not happen. Good time to try to play for a big inning.
We had the right part of your lineup up there, so I like that they were aggressive with those guys up at the plate.
1 to Altuve with Valbuena on deck. Chance for the Astros to come back after the 2-run homer at the top of the inning by Posey. Castro got 1 quick one back, and now if Altuve comes through, Valbuena will be next, and then Springer could bat.
This might sound kind of silly, but this is a big at bat.
It is.
And there's some thump behind Altuve, but obviously one of the better, hotter hitters in the Astros lineup compared to the guys behind him.
Jose takes a curveball. 2-1. He snapped an 0 for 10 when he got a hit in the first inning. He was fouled out in the 4th.
Good job of laying off that.
Actually, 5 of the 7 home runs surrendered by Hudson have been to right-handed batters this year. In tight again. 3 balls and a strike to Altuve. He has been phenomenal with runners in scoring position for the Astros this year. Jose has been hitting .375 with those runners in scoring position. Ground ball third. McGee steps on third, throws to first, double play. And the Astros settle for 1 run on the Castro homer on 3 hits. They leave a man. A tough out on the line out to third by Marisnik, then the double play. 3-2 Giants after 5. Book your low fare now at Southwest.com. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at Geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Both teams scored in the 5th inning. The Giants lead it by 1, 3-2. We go to the 6th, and pitcher Will Harris comes in. He's the 3rd man to work for A.J. Hinch in this game tonight. Like a good time out there. And he'll be facing Casey McGee. McGee has walked and singled. Harris 1-0 with a 0.56 ERA in a dozen games.
21 strikeouts in 16 innings. Good numbers.
Really been able to hit his spots. That's ball 1. They do know in 2 innings allowed 3 hits, 2 runs, walking 1 and having 1 strikeout. He hit a batter. Got out of bases loaded trouble in the 4th, then gave up the 2-run homer to Posey in the 5th. Harris gets a call there from Jim Joyce to even the count at 1-1. He also pitched in last night's game, 1 scoreless inning, giving up a hit. And being efficient like that does help with back-to-back appearances. He needed only a dozen pitches last night. Missing there, he falls behind 2-1.
Looks like a guy that has a good delivery to be able to come back on back-to-back nights.
He does.
Pretty efficient, not moving all over the place. Kind of stays in that hallway going down towards home plate.
Bouncer to shortstop, VR. 1 out. Harris has been, for a guy most people didn't know a whole lot about, a very pleasant acquisition for this club.
Is he another waiver claim?
Yep.
How about that? Oh, leading the league in waiver claims. Good ones, too. There's a future. Hopefully not a waiver claim. Long-term deal.
Future of the Astros right there, pal. Youth movement is still underway. Crawford's the batter. Crawford has a hit, and he's been hit by a pitch. They grow up on Astros baseball.
Yeah, they do.
When you were growing up, what was your favorite team?
I was a West Coast guy. I was kind of torn between the Padres, Dodgers, and Angels. The California Angels at the time. It's basically whoever I could get tickets to, I was cheering for.
Gary Pettis was talking about the Angels. He played for them.
Oh, well, come on now.
He played for some great Angel teams. He was reeling off the names, you know, Reggie Jackson and all those guys. Don Baylor. They had some outstanding teams.
Bobby Grich, Doug DeCinces.
You're right.
Oh, man.
Yep.
That's right around the time I was watching him.
Strike. Rod Carew. He talked about, I asked him who his best friend was, and he said, no, I could name one, but I think Carew was the guy I tried to hang around the most.
Good guy to hang around.
Oh, line drive machine. 3 balls and a strike. He said we had such fantastic players. I just tried to fit in.
Play for you, Will. Come on, Will.
But you know, he talked about how the great players around him kind of lifted him. He felt that need to be a great performer himself as much as he could make himself. Foul tip makes it 3-2.
I believe that happens. I mean, Gary Pettis was a great athlete. He was a great center fielder. I loved watching him go flag down fly balls in center field. But I think you know, it takes a little bit of pressure off those guys that aren't necessarily the superstars and allows them to play better because those other guys are taking the heat off them.
True. 9-shot foul. Crawford is bringing very good at bats to the 9 spot for the Giants tonight. Trying to get on for his 3rd straight time. Dodgers are trailing Miami 5-4 in the top of the 7th inning. Giancarlo Stanton has been doing some great things in that series out there, as we saw from his home run last night. Fly ball chasing Rasmus back into left field. 2 outs.
Join the Astros at Minute Maid Park this Saturday for Whataburger Military Appreciation Night as they take on the Blue Jays. 10,000 fans will receive a Dallas Keuchel Gold Glove Gnome. Presented by HEB. For more information, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. That's the real deal right there. Seeing manscaping.
2 outs, and it's Aoki batting. Corner infielders move in tight. Strike 1. Dallas Keuchel with the best ERA in baseball right now.
He is so much fun to watch. You say best ERA in baseball, you expect it to be a flamethrower with a nasty put-away pitch, but he's just a grinder that has pitches that he can locate at any time, anywhere. No fear, just continues to get ground balls and get outs.
1-1 for Will Harris. He certainly lived up to the staff ace. Bouncer going to left field. A high chopping ground ball over Valbuena, and Aoki just hit down on it and got it into left field for a single. Julia?
Hey, Brownie, I have the Geico quote of the day. It is from Matt Duffy, who's coming up now, having quite the series, but it came after last night's loss for the Astros, who only got 2 hits on the night. And this is what Duffy said. Usually when that happens, talking about striking out looking, usually when that happens, guys are really starting to think hard against a pitcher, at least for me. If I'm striking out looking, it means I'm probably thinking too much. This is coming from a rookie. Blummer, what do you think about his comments there?
I think he's right. But it's the whole paralysis by analysis. Got a little too much information up there. You're guessing on what that 2-strike pitch is going to be, and you might be sitting on the breaking ball, and it's a fastball, so you don't pull the trigger. But if that mind and body are out of sync, it leads to those strikeouts looking. I think it's a good observation from a young man.
9 hits for the Giants, 5 for the Astros tonight. Fouled away. Julia, you look at the league leaders every day, and a lot of us do. What about D. Gordon has surprised you? He's hitting .422.
Ooh, is it .422?
.422.
Oh my goodness! I see that guy in the highlights every night when I go home.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Of all the people you would have guessed not to be hitting .422, he'd be near the top of the list, right?
Wow,
of course. That was Julia's pick, preseason pick.
Yeah.
Pick to click right there.
Well, it is mid-May, so that'll go by the boards pretty soon, perhaps. But with all the guys with the fabulous physiques that spend all these hours in the gym, here's one of the thinnest guys in the game today, and that's what I think a lot of us really like about baseball so much.
Yeah, D. Gordon's built like a fungo, and he's swinging one right now, putting the ball wherever he wants.
Yeah. Runner goes, and there's a foul ball. Castro is coming up to make a throw, and that foul ball got him.
You know, sitting up here and watching these games on a daily basis now, I look back and I go, wow, I really wish I was a catcher back in the day. Nope.
Not really.
Not at all. All you're doing is trying to come out of the crouch and make a play, and the guy takes a check swing, foul tips one off your leg. Just hit a home run, and now you're thinking about the bruise you've got on your foot.
Checking a little further into this D. Gordon season. With 3 hits tonight, he has 57 hits.
Good grief.
It's almost an Ichiro type pace.
What are the chances Duffy goes down looking?
I think they're good. No. Ball, 2 strikes remaining the count as we check D. Gordon atop the NL, and Adrian Gonzalez, of course, has put together a fabulous year so far himself.
412?
4. Well, it's now, to update it tonight, he's 3 for
3
4.
hits?
422 right now.
Well, don't wake him up. Stay in that hit coma.
And the throw goes over because of that jump that Duffy had, that Aoki had in the last pitch to Duffy. Well, the Marlins have regrouped pretty well.
Didn't they want to fire Mike Redmond out there?
Yes, there's talk about that.
It's a pretty well thought out process going on, huh?
2-2. I think there was I'm trying to think of the earliest managerial firing, and there was one after about a week in the season, I think, at some point. But the Milwaukee firing seemed to be pretty early, although when you factor in the September they had last year as well, maybe not so much. Cal Ripken Sr. very early this season. Strike 3, took strike 3, Bummer.
It happened.
No runs, a hit, and a man left. And it's a 1-run lead for the Giants. 3-2. Maybe thinking too much in the 6th.
Tomorrow night's pitching matchup is presented by Chevron. They want you to care for your car. See Roberto Hernandez going to take that power sinker that he has out there. Pitched quite well last time out there in Anaheim against those Angels. Look for him to continue some of that success out of that 4th spot in the rotation for the Houston Astros.
He has been in a nice groove. There's ball 1 to Valbuena. 3-2 Giants. Luis walked and scored in the 4th after grounding into a double play in the 1st. Down and in for a ball. And they rule a swing, huh? Wow. Yeah, ball 2 went up on the scoreboard. Let's see. Yeah, they're ruling ball 2. They asked for an appeal, but Giants didn't get the call. Springer and Rasmus to follow here in the Houston 6th inning. And there's a foul ball back. Giants have a lefty in the bullpen. He goes down on that one.
How about that finish? Turned into a corkscrew.
Yep. Put everything into this one.
So break this down. Drive through it and just full breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the back knee gave out.
Sure does.
I don't know if that's the one you want on your baseball card.
A shot going foul. Lefty Javier Lopez warming up the bullpen for the Giants now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hudson has only thrown 72 pitches. Very low number. But he had only 14 in the first 2 innings. He retired after the single by Altuve. He got the next 9. So he was rolling along, and then for some reason back-to-back walks with 2 out. Set the table for the Rasmus RBI single in the 4th. High to right center field. Let's see if this is a game-tying homer for Valbuena. And he has hit it. 3-3 game. Valbuena, number 8 into the Astros bullpen. Justin Maxwell gave it a great effort, but Valbuena, after crumpling on the previous swing, it went a long way.
Yeah, he regrouped nicely after that ball down swing in the first pitch of the at-bat. But here he gets himself a slider that comes right back into the barrel of Valbuena. Saw some of the pitches being elevated from Tim Hudson here in the last couple innings. That's a nice smooth power stroke from Valbuena.
Now George Springer up and in ball 1. Springer's 0 for 1 with a walk. This game is tied at 3. The Astros have hit a couple of homers tonight. Castro with number 4. Valbuena with number 8. And the second baseman is there, Duffy, to throw out Springer. 1 down. So with the 8 home runs, Valbuena retains his club lead and adds to it a little bit. Well, that swing.
Now that location. Elevated, hanging, kind of a cement mixer out there on that outer third. Just that little split second of time for Valbuena to see it a little bit longer, allowed him to get to that pitch. Because that's what you're doing in a 2-strike count. You're kind of sitting that, most guys will be sitting on that outer third, maybe something firm so they don't get beat by it. Yet, when they're doing that, they see that hanging off speed pitch and they can do what Valbuena just did on it.
Pitching change. Lopez coming in. It's a 3-3 game. Hudson on his way out. And so are we for this. now Tim Hudson has left. 5 1/3 innings for Tim. 6 hits, 3 runs allowed, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. He only threw 75 pitches. Bruce Bochy came out to bring in Javier Lopez for a lefty-on-lefty matchup with Colby Rasmus. Lopez is tough on lefties. And he has 1 hold and a 2.35 ERA. Look at the low whip, 0.65. Rasmus 0 for 4 against him. And takes the slider for ball 1. Rasmus singled in a run in the 4th. He's 1 for 2 tonight, but lefties have been his nemesis. He often is not in the starting lineup with a southpaw pitcher on the mound. Little roller. Susac. 2 outs. And now we'll see if Lopez stays in with Evan Gattis coming up. He will not. Bochy using the 1 batter appearance for Javi Lopez. And he'll go back to the right side for Gattis as he really wheels and deals in the 6th inning with his bullpen. George Contos has been warming up. If this is a tie game, Bochy will make another move. So the former Astros catcher, Bochy, well on his way to the Hall of Fame. Has been very adept at managing a pitching staff down through the years. 3-3, back in a moment.
TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 devices. Get real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Orbit entertaining as always. Watch your step there, Orbit. And now it's Evan Gattis against George Contos. Contos has done well in 15 games, a 1-0 record in 19 innings, a 1.42 ERA, and a whip below 1.
Bullpen's looking pretty good for Bruce Bochy.
Yes, it is. Gattis is 0 for 2. He has not been able to get the ball out of the infield yet tonight. He's grounded to the pitcher, and he struck out looking. Lopez retiring the only man he faced, Rasmus. It's a wide one, ball 1. It's only a .203 batting average against Contos so far this year.
Fastball, cutter, slider, changeup.
He's had 3 days of rest since his last outing. Gattis chasing one, and that makes it 1-1. Contos was drafted by the Yankees in 2006, taken in the Rule 5 draft by San Diego in 2010. The Giants got him in a trade for catcher Chris Stewart 3 years ago. Gattis swings again, and it's 1-2 to Evan. George will turn 30 in June. He was born in Illinois and went to Northwestern. Just gets a small piece of it, stays alive at 1 ball, 2 strikes. You know, these giant relievers have to have been ready for a rest at the end of last season with the length of the postseason. And now back out for another full season of work. Contos, one of those. He only pitched 24 games for them, 30 at Fresno. Line shot up the right field line. And Gaddis will take a turn. Justin Maxwell will get there. The ball pops out of his hand. Here's Gaddis going to second, and the throw trickles in offline. Gaddis had stopped, so that will be an error on Maxwell. And a single for Gaddis, snapping it 0 for 19.
Bear just poking one out there. That's that pitch he'd been swinging and missing off of Contos earlier in that bat. Manages to nub this one off the end of the bat. And Maxwell, just like I was expecting Gaddis to go. You could see he was a quarter of the way around the bag before Maxwell even got to the ball. But instead it turns into an error because Maxwell can't get the grip.
Well, now the Astros have a break with the error on Maxwell, his first of the year. Getting Gaddis into scoring position from Castro, who's really nailed the ball twice in this game. He lined out to center field and hit a home run off the top of the right center field wall. Ball 1. Chris Carter on deck. Giants had not made an error in the 7 previous games. They've only allowed 7 unearned runs to score this year. Castro looks at it, and that's ball 2. The Twins beat the Tigers in Detroit 6-2. Ricky Nolasco going to 3-1.
Good pitch.
Right there on the fringe.
Yeah, he's asking, where was that?
Torrey Hunter hit home run number 6.
Not sure Contos has earned the right to question Jim Joyce yet.
Foul back. 2 balls and a strike. We talked last night about Castro's batting average on balls in play, which was .241 coming into last night's game. And the way the statisticians look at a statistic like that is that he's below the major league average, so he's hitting the ball better than his average would indicate, and so his average should come up. He's just not hitting it where he's going to get hits. He's hitting it at people more, and we saw that with the line out in the 3rd inning to center field. He really was on that ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So if he does revert to the norm, maybe there's some pop flies that drop in, some ground balls that hop over gloves. Maybe his time is coming.
Biggest misconception in baseball. It all evens out, Brownie.
It doesn't really do that, does it?
No. If it evened out, I'd still be playing.
Look what you'd be missing out on, though.
So true.
Astros down on strikes. The Astros tied on a Valbuena leadoff homer. It's 3-3 after 6.
building with this blast. Giancarlo Stanton proving that Dodger Stadium cannot hold him. The exit velocity of 114 miles an hour, estimated the projected distance of 475 feet. Now, Brownie, for me, power hitters hit a lot of home runs, but for a guy to hit out of the stadium, that's just being arrogant.
So only the fourth player to do that in the history of Dodger Stadium, which goes back to the early 60s. That is quite impressive. Pat Neshek in 14 games is 3-0 with a 3.65 ERA, and against the Giants 0-1 with a 4.76 for his career. Paid attendance tonight 20,725 on Dollar Hot Dog Night. Seeing a good ball game. 3-3 in the 7th. Angel Pagan to lead it off. Will Harrison 1 inning, allowed 1 hit, no runs, had no walks, 1 strikeout. Pagan has a triple in 3 at bats. Whips the ball 1 from Neshek. So Pat, with those 3 wins, has performed well in some key spots this season. He got wins in back-to-back games here against Seattle May 3rd and on the road at the Angels' place May 7th. Strike there, evens the count at 1-1. It turns into a battle of the bullpens as we go to the 7th inning. Red Sox beat Oakland today 2-0. It's a changeup with a fly ball to center, pushing Marisnik back a few steps. 1 out. Mike Piazza also left the yard. 1997 for the Dodgers. He's the only Dodger hit 1 out of Dodger Stadium.
That's ridiculous. The other guy, there's only 3 guys have hit 4 home runs out of that stadium. Willie Stargell has done it twice.
Strike to Posey. The key matchup of the night. Posey is torrid. He is 3 for 3. A homer, 3 runs batted in a 3-3 game. Infield shifts around. Way outside, and it's 1-1. The Astros bullpen has been outstanding. 9-2 with a 2.13 ERA. The ERA second lowest in the American League. Neshek, a big part of the remade bullpen for the Astros this season. Pumps it in for a strike, 1-2. It's just come together so quickly for the Astros, but what helps is that the pitchers who came to this bullpen are all veterans who have moved around in their career. Two to Posey with Maxwell on deck.
Yeah, a lot of credit goes to those guys upstairs making the decisions on who to sign in the offseason. Bullpen was obviously a huge issue last year for the Astros and didn't really turn too many heads when they made the move, getting Neshek and Gregerson, but these 2 guys have paid off quite well for me.
Very well. Joe Thatcher, big part of it. Outside, now a full count to Posey, and Neshek will have to be cautious on this one. Pat's last outing Saturday night, so he's had a few days rest. And against the Angels, he went an inning and a third, did not give up a hit or a run. Coming in with a 6-4 lead in the 6th inning and holding it. Ground ball third. Bueno. That's 2 very big outs.
This one doesn't go out of the ballpark, but Richie Sexson tagged one. And if you've ever been to Arizona, you've got to understand how far this is. But the interesting thing for me was that Richie knocked that one off his face up on a scoreboard in center field.
Hit himself in the face.
Yeah, that's a bomb.
That hurts.
You got fans that show up to these games every day in awe of how far you hit it. That gives you a pretty good idea. And there's another guy with an interesting build, not with all the muscles that a Giancarlo Stanton or a Mike Piazza has, but created an impressive amount of leverage.
True. Foul back by Maxwell. J-Max 1 for 3 in this game tonight. We were talking before the game about Sexson when he was here years ago. We both remembered that he hit one high off the flagpole in center field that's in play. and it was about 2/3 of the way up. And he got a triple on it because that flagpole is in the field of play, and it did not leave the field. It came back down in the outfield.
He was so mad.
Oh, yeah. He was standing on third with his hands on his hips staring out there, wasn't he?
Is that good luck or bad luck?
Oh, boy. To hit a ball like that and not get a homer.
Well, the crazy thing is when you're playing on the field, you're standing back and you're like, wow, we crushed that. Then you got to make a play.
Yeah, with a strikeout on Maxwell, and he goes through the 3, 4, 5 hitters impressively in the 7th to keep the game tied at 3.
'15 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is open, and for the first time ever, it's online only. Vote for your favorite Astros today by visiting astros.com/vote. Skipper for the Astros, A.J. Hinch, very good friends with Bruce Bochy for the San Francisco Giants. They actually lived really close to one another in the San Diego area for years, and A.J. said he used to pick his brain a lot about the way he manages. And he said one of the things that impresses him about his managerial abilities is the way he manages that bullpen. He said he's one of the most successful guys in the game, but the way he handles that bullpen and the pitchers makes him so successful. And he talks a lot about staying connected with your bullpen, because the bullpen situation is a little different in San Francisco with the way the pitchers stay in the dugout. It's just a different dynamic there. And AJ said it's different, but he loves the way that he likes to watch what Bruce Bochy does.
Thanks, Julia. There was strike one to Chris Carter from George Contos. Carter with a single and 2 trips. Falls behind 0-2 with VR on deck, and Marisnik due up third in a 3-3 ball game in the 7th. Yeah, Bochy is very adept at knowing when to make those pitching changes, go to matchups, and he has good pitchers, so it's tough to be a good manager without good relief pitchers. So it's a combination of the two. Carter looks at one, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. For instance, in the 6th inning, took out Hudson after 75 pitches. He'd given up a homer to Valbuena, which tied it, but then let him face one more guy. And then he brings in a lefty-on-lefty matchup. Lopez gets Rasmus. And then another move bringing in Contos. He gives up a single to Gaddis, gets Castro. And now facing Carter. There's nobody currently warming up for the Giants, but Chad Qualls is throwing for Houston. And now Carter's worked his way back to a 3-2 count after being behind.
I think what gets lost in the shuffle too sometimes is what you see on the field is, yes, he's doing a very good job. He's got a good bullpen out there, but what he does in between those games, giving these guys days off, realizing how hard they're working, not taxing that arm, so later in the season he can use those guys in even better ways, trying to push them into the postseason.
Leadoff walk to Carter after Contos was ahead of him. Chris takes a close one, and he's aboard with his 15th walk of the year. Now it's VR batting. VR lined a single over shortstop in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 2. Marisnick on deck. We get a pinch runner, Marwin Gonzalez, coming out for Carter in the 7th inning. And this again is one of those moves, and A.J. Hinch has a feel for it. This is a pretty good time to think about taking the lead and wanting more speed on at first base after that leadoff walk.
Yeah, you want to have a guy out there that can score on a ball in a gap, or that can advance to second base on a mediocre bunt too.
Third baseman's creeping in on the grass. McGee. There's strike one. If VR were to put down a sacrifice bunt, it probably would not be considered with Carter as the base runner, but different with Gonzalez as the base runner. Gene Mache is throwing in the bullpen for the Giants. The bunt is popped up. Contos running, and 3 players get there. It's caught. The catcher wound up with it, Susak, as 3 of them arrived at exactly the same time.
What in God's name is Contos doing anywhere near that baseball?
That could have been ugly.
You're a pitcher, stay out of the way and let the position players make the play. Brandon Bell with the heads-up move and getting out of there as quick as he can, and Expo is really going to show us what happened here. All 3 gloves in the same spot, and then just bodies everywhere.
Contos taking the spill after bulldozing his battery mate, Susak. He visited by a trainer, but he will stay in the game.
My goodness, he's lucky to still be out there. I mean, I'm all for being concerned about your ERA and getting as many outs as you can, but that's a little ridiculous.
Well, meanwhile, it's a key out.
Big out.
The runner doesn't advance, and now Marisnick comes up. Jake 0 for 3. He appeared to have reached in the 4th on an infield hit, but it was overturned on replay review in New York. He scalded a liner at the 3rd baseman in the 5th. Altuve on deck. That's ball 1. In that Boston 2-0 win over Oakland, Red Sox got a very well pitched game from Wade Miley, who beat Sonny Gray. Koji Uehara with the save. Miley going 6 2/3, allowing no runs. Strike to Marisnick. 1-1. That Boston starting pitching ERA has been extremely high this year. The Red Sox are 16 and 18, which means they're not too far out of it in the AL East. 5.5 back coming into play tonight. Marwin started and stopped. There's a roller at third base line and foul. 1-2. Since the Astros won 10 in a row, and during that stretch they averaged 7.6 runs per game. They've gone 2-6 with 16 runs total in the last 8. Tonight looking a little bit better offensively with 7 hits, and they've drawn 3 walks. They've hit a couple of homers tonight, and they continue to lead the American League with 48 long balls. They've been pretty much home run dependent this season. And then trying to bunt along the runner, that didn't work out here as they attempted to play small ball in the 7th inning. But Marisnick has hit really well with runners in scoring position. 421. They're really working on Marwin Gonzalez after he had fainted towards second base earlier.
Really not Marwin's forte to go out there and steal a bag. He's more of a guy that's going to score on a double, hopefully.
Marisnick's down on strikes. Well, as you know, a lot of times when a manager inserts a pinch runner, it's not to steal a base, but with the thought that we need somebody faster who can score from first on a double.
And you see those moves like in the 7th inning on, like we saw right here tonight, but a good slider from Contos. Maybe expanding the zone a little bit was Marisnick.
Now Altuve bats as they 1 for 3. Now Chris Carter laid off that slider and drew a walk. Blue Jays lost at Baltimore 6-1. So they'll be heading for Houston shortly. Josh Donaldson off to a good start. He's hit .314 for them. Altuve tried to bunt and fouled it. He was out early working on his bunting.
Do it all, trying to move guys along, get more base runners. It's going to increase your opportunity to score some runs. I like that fire in Altuve.
Yep.
He tries to do things. If he doesn't accomplish it, it annoys him to no end. He goes out and works on it, trying to get better at it. That's what you got to love about that kid. That's the league's leading hitter last year, yet he's out doing early work to get that much better and help his ball club win.
That's his makeup. He sets a nice tone in that clubhouse the way he works. He's all about winning. That's out to center field, and Pagan handles it. No runs, no hits, a man left. We move to the 8th. It's tied at 3. And the new pitcher is Chad Qualls. He's pitcher number 5 tonight for A.J. Hinch. The veteran and former closer, now working in this tie game in the 8th inning. And in 13 games, he's 0-2 with a 3.97 ERA and 3 saves.
Picked up a save last Saturday out there in Los Angeles or Anaheim.
Wherever you guys were.
Yeah, we just get on a plane and go.
Well, Luke Gregerson was unavailable. He was away with his family attending to an emergency, and Chad Qualls stepped up to get that save. That was in the 6-5 win. He gave up a run in 1 inning, but wound up after the intentional walk to Mike Trout. He got Albert Pujols with 2 men on. Quite a challenge, but he was up to getting a ground ball to shortstop from Mr. Pujols.
Yeah, that was one of those moves that makes sense but didn't make sense. Just because in our history of knowing Albert Pujols and what he's done to Astros pitching, but right now Mike Trout is the man.
Foul ball by Belt. There's strike 1. Both these teams with good bullpens to battle it out here into the late innings tonight. Good ball game. Swing by Belt takes the count to 0-2. Pat Neshek had a 1-2-3 7th with a punch out.
Belt's having a tough time getting to that high cheese. You can see him bringing the hands in, but still, with where his hands are at, kind of creates that loop swinging under that high fastball.
Sure does. Good on the low pitches. And that creates something of a change for Qualls because he likes to sink the ball, but may vary that with a good low ball hitter like Belt. Left-handed hitters usually do quite a bit better against right-handed sinker ballers, depending.
It's one of those oddities in baseball where left-handed hitters just have a better time hitting that ball down in the zone.
Any particular reason that you could come up with for that?
Not sure. Just easy to drop the head on some of those pitches. I'm not sure if it's a visual or an actual swing mechanic that makes it easier. But interesting that you see what Bryce Harper's doing, and they showed his hot cold zones, and down and in, he's not hitting the ball well at all.
Interesting. Out toward Valbuena, who's overshifted, but he can't make the play. Belt is able to reach. Valbuena was the only player between second and third, and couldn't handle it to his left. That's an error on Valbuena, his second in as many nights after we raved about him before last night's game.
Inside out swing from Brandon Belt kind of creates a funky spin and hits the grass first, and when it gets to the dirt you can see it jump up on him a little bit. Handcuffed him. Watch this next hop. He was planning on the ball being down. Jumps up, hits him in the heel. He's not able to corral it.
It's Andrew Susac batting. He's 0 for 3. Pops it up. VR moving. Valbuena is there. VR calls it. And that's out number 1. Giant bullpen is busy. Casey McGee will bat. He has a walk and a single tonight. Lefty Jeremy Affeldt. Valbuena, Springer, and Rasmus due up in the Houston 8th inning. So left, right, and left for Affeldt. Altuve's up the middle now for McGee. Marlins are leading the Dodgers 5-4. They're in the bottom of the 8th. D. Gordon got his 4th hit of the night. He's hitting .426. All back for strike 1. Jared Cozart started for Miami. He gave up 4 earned runs in 5 1/3 innings. Stanton's driven in 3 tonight. Runner takes off, swing and a miss. Castro's throw. Altuve with a tag. Out. Another big throw by Castro. Guns down a runner for the 2nd straight night. 2 outs.
It was a peculiar time for a hit and run. 0-1 count.
It was.
Not a fast runner at first base, but obviously a hit and run with what McGee was doing, swinging at that. And again, Castro with a throw right on the money.
Giants are trying to buy time to decide whether to ask for a review of this.
Out.
Really close. Supermo. Well, Bruce comes out. He's going to challenge it. So apparently his video room specialist saw it a different way. Bruce won his challenge on Marisnik's infield hit in the 4th. It was overturned to an out. Let's see it. You sticking with your call?
I am.
Okay.
Here's an even better look at that. Supermo. See him get him on the heel before he gets in there. Right there.
Okay.
Right there.
That is it. Okay.
There we go.
Such a great look. Glad we got the Supermo.
I agree.
We've not had the Supermo for years on Astros TV. Root Sports added it this year to the coverage. It does add a whole lot.
It's fantastic.
It's being shown on the Astros big video board, El Grande here. That's what A.J. Hinch and a lot of people are looking up at right now. that's the other part of this system that's so appealing. The fans now get to see these replays of contested plays.
Well, this brings them in on the action. Let their opinion be known.
Chief Jim Joyce on the headsets with New York, and the second base umpire Marvin Hudson made that call, so he's involved. And the call is upheld. It is out number 2. Altuve with the quick tag on Belt. Castro is now thrown out 8 of 19 this year. Very good percentage.
That is.
Make it 8 of 20 because Duffy stole a base back in the first. So McGee has an 0-2 count. Would you take 40% from the catcher?
I most definitely would.
Such a big play to take a runner out of scoring position. 1-2 now on McGee. Crawford is on deck. White Sox lead the Brewers 4-1 in the late stages. And a strikeout ends the top of the 8th inning. Strikeout number 7 for Astros pitchers. We go to the last of the 8th. The 3, 4, 5 Houston hitters due up. Altuve with the tag on the throw from Castro to get Belt. It's tied at 3. Leading it off here in the bottom of the 8th inning. He homered in the 6th to get the Astros into a 3-3 tie.
Good swing. Good extension. Good part of the ballpark. Little man gets excited when he drives that baseball. He tied it up. He might as well go out there and hit a game winner.
It'll be against lefty Jeremy Affeldt if he does it. Affeldt is pitcher number 4 of the night for Bruce Bochy. Very good left-handed reliever. He's had 2 days of rest since his last outing against Miami, which was 1/3 of an inning in 14 games. 0-1 with a 2.25 ERA.
Making his 15th appearance. He's only pitched 8 innings. Yet to give up a home run.
Giants do have some bullpen action going. Jeremy's 35 years old. Bounces that one for ball 1. Valbuena, in addition to the homer, walked and scored in the 4th. Affeldt, with all this experience as a major leaguer, well over 700 appearances. He's been in tons of situations like this. He was a winning pitcher in Game 7 of the World Series. There's a shot, and it's caught by Belt. A line drive, and the Astros have had a few of those tonight, caught by Giants.
You kidding me? Get out of the way, Brandon Belt. This ball smoked from Valbuena. nothing to show for it. Swinging the bat well right now. Ouch. That would have been a nice thing for the Astros to have, a leadoff double.
Marisnick lined out to third in the fifth. Castro lined out to center in the third. Here's Springer. With strike one. George 0 for 2 with a walk. White Sox 4, Brewers 1 in the top of the ninth inning at Milwaukee. The Cubs beat the Mets on a game-winning walk. Sherry's Familia of the Mets walking in Chris Coughlin of the Cubs. A walk-off walk.
Those are always exciting.
1-1 to Springer. Affeld deals. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Affeld has not given up an extra base hit in his last 10 1/3 innings now. Drafted by Kansas City in '97. He was with the Rockies and Cincinnati before the Giants got him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Last year he pitched 62 times in the regular season and had 11 more postseason appearances. Now back by Springer. George with a 2-2 count still.
Good swing right on it. 2 strikes. Probably wants that one back. He's got the pop to go to the other field.
3-2 now. Affeld has not given up a homer this year. Gave up 1 in 55 innings last year.
He's tough to pick up. He's pretty deceptive. Got that herky-jerky motion coming at you, and he still throws pretty firm for a left-handed pitcher.
22 consecutive scoreless appearances in the postseason for Affeld.
Teams will let you hang around for a while if you keep doing that. Wow.
Springer rocks one deep to left center field. George Springer is back. That's a home run for George Springer. The first one allowed by Affeld this season, and welcome back, George. 4-3 Houston in the 8th. 5th home run of the year. 13 runs batted in, and what a time to unload.
You're sitting on when you bring George Springer back into the lineup. That electricity igniting that Astro offense here late in the game. Fouled off a tough fastball that he took a good swing at, and this was the mistake that leaked back out over the plate. Affeld knew immediately when he saw that ball creep back over that middle third that George Springer was going to barrel it up. That ball not elevated either. That ball was a laser beam to send left center field.
It was a shot. Affeld just dropped his head. Strike one to Rasmus. Rasmus drove in a run with a single in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. Gaddis on deck as the Astros look for more here in the home 8th. Giants will have their 9-1 and 2 hitters due up in the 9th. That ball was absolutely rocked by Springer. The roller goes to first base for Belt. 2 outs. The Astros have hit 3 long balls tonight.
See that pitch from behind right down the middle, and that's what you're supposed to do with it. Barrel it up and launch it. Some man-sized pop hitting the line drive to that part of the ballpark.
49 homers for the Astros this season. This is game number 34. Affeld comes out. He gave up the drive to Springer. Now another bullpen move for the Giants in the bottom of the 8th, with the Astros leading at 4-3.
life. George Springer. That ball was absolutely tagged. Welcome back, George Springer. The igniter in that lineup for the Houston Astros, and another youngster, John Singleton, having himself a night down there for the Fresno Grizzlies.
10 runs batted in one game.
Huh?
That is crazy.
Is there a three-point line down there in Albuquerque or what?
Wow.
My goodness.
Now here's Romo in the game to pitch to Gaddis, and it takes a big swing. There's strike one. Sergio Romo, the veteran right-hander, pitcher number 5 of the night for the Giants, 0-1 with 8 holds and a 3.48 ERA for Romo. He's 32. He breaks one in for a strike, and quickly Gaddis falls behind. No balls, 2 strikes. Castro on deck. Crawford, Aoki, and Duffy due up in the Giants' 9th. Gaddis is punched out, and that ends the 8th inning. With 1 out, it was Springer on a 3-2 pitch, sending a shot over the left center field wall to give the Astros the lead for the first time tonight, 4-3 through 8. Presented by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Whataburger. You've never had a club sandwich quite like this. The Whataburger Honey Mustard Whata Chicken Club, here for a limited time.
Astros leading 4-3 on a George Springer dinger going into the top of the 9th, and this pitching performance is powered by Kubota. Bit of a welcome back game for some of these Astros, and Luke Gregerson coming back. See those numbers on the bottom, doing quite well, 2-0. Then the win-loss record, ERA is fantastic, 7 saves, ties him for 7th in the league. But that bottom number is the one you want to look at. When Gregerson comes into this game, they are 14-0. He wants to continue that streak here. After a small break, going back and taking care of things with the family. Now he's back with his baseball family.
And it's Brandon Crawford to lead it off. Crawford has singled to left. He's been hit by a pitch, and he's flied to left. That is strike one for Luke Gregerson. Pitcher number 6 for A.J. Hinch tonight. Gregerson got a save in that 3-2 win in Anaheim 6 days ago in his last outing. No balls, 2 strikes.
See the bottom drop out of that slider right there, and Gregerson's going to throw the ball back. That's interesting to me. Usually a pitcher that creates that kind of movement wants to keep that baseball in the game.
Yes, he does. Some great action on it. He worked a scoreless ninth in that most recent appearance in Anaheim Friday night. That's line to left field, and Rasmus comes over, gets by him, goes off the wall. Crawford into second base with a leadoff double. Every time he's hit the ball tonight, he's taken it to left field. He hit that one hard.
We've actually seen him. He's one of the few Giants guys that have gotten on top of the high pitch from Astro pitching and done something with it. But you're right, Brownie. Initially, I didn't think he hit it that well, but when it got out to left field, it shot past Colby Rasmus.
That's 10 hits for the Giants now.
Good old-fashioned tomahawk.
And the leadoff man, Aoki, has been on twice with a walk and a single to left. He's 1 for 3. Will he bunt? Duffy on deck.
I'd have to say yes.
Marwin Gonzalez is in tight at first. Valbuena on the grass at third. Aoki shows no signs of it. There's ball one. Usually teams on the road do not play for a tie, but it could certainly change.
If he's not laying down a bunt, he's definitely looking for a pitch he can yank to that right side of the infield.
Sure.
But it's going to be interesting. If he hits a bullet to Altuve, he may have a shot at third base.
He might. Bad swing there. And it's 1-1. He is a very good butter.
That swing's not going to get it done.
It wouldn't be all that shocking if a guy like Aoki were to try to bunt for a hit.
I always thought that would be the smart move. If you're a hitter in this situation, try and drag bunt. It's a win-win situation. If you get it down and you're safe, it's a base hit. If not, it goes as a sac bunt.
That's a short. Runner goes to third. Here's Fiala throwing. And the tag by Valbuena. Not a good time to try to move to third base. And the Astros get Crawford for out number 1.
Well, we can see it from our vantage point. The middle of the infield was actually playing much shallower than they normally do with Aoki up there. Altuve playing in, but you see where VR is right behind the runner. So that ball gets to him a little bit quicker. That's a tough read for the runner at second base. They say a lot of times, if you can make that ball, if you're the base runner at second base, if you can make that ball be on your left-hand side, go. But in this instance, it didn't pay off at all because of how close VR was playing behind the base runner. Big play.
Very big play. Now it's Matt Duffy. 1 for 3 with a walk, a steal, a run scored. Such a huge play on this game after a leadoff double. There's strike 1.
Let's take a look at where the infielders are playing at. You see how close he is behind the runner at second base. And Brandon Crawford, he knows that. He has to know that. But with that ball hit, he made it be on his left-hand side and forced the defense to make the play. And this time, PR made a great play.
Strike 2. VR really made that play calmly. Did not rush it. Valbuena moving to the outside of the baseline to give him a good target. Sometimes the runner can get in the way of that throw. Good crowd tonight. Plenty of energy at Minute Maid Park here in the 9th inning. Struck him out. 2 down. Now Pagan.
Nasty slider from Gregerson. He's a tough guy to pick the ball up out of his hand. Kind of short arms it. See him cup that wrist to get on the side of that slider and yanks that one down the way and got Duffy to chase big time.
5 of Gregerson's 7 saves have been in 1-run games. And now it's Pagan who tripled in the 5th. He's 1 for 4. Good crowd standing. Giants led it 3-1 going to the bottom of the 5th. Castro homered to close it to within 1. Valbuena hit a 6th inning leadoff homer for Houston to tie it. Springer with an 8th inning 1-out go-ahead homer to lift Houston to the 4-3 lead. Buster Posey's on deck. And there's strike one to Pagan. The Astros are 8-2 in one-run games. Giants are 9-3. Houston trying to snap a 4-game losing streak at home. Shooting for win number 21 of the season, and these fans have certainly enjoyed the show tonight. Treated as a great game tonight. Dirt. 1-1. Astros starter Brett Overholtzer left the game with an injury after 3 innings, a blister. Dayduno worked 2 innings. Harris 1, Neshek 1, Qualls 1. Now Gregerson, pitcher number 6 of the night for Houston, trying to close it out. Ground ball up the middle. Altuve can't get it. On through into center field. Marisnick picks it up. And the Giants have runners at first and third. Aoki to third base on the single by Pagan, bringing up Posey. Altuve almost got to it. It was under his glove as he stretched for it.
Real close to making that play. And if he does grab that ball, it's just a quick flip to VR for the out to end this ball game, but just barely out of the reach of Altuve.
Now Buster Posey, who is 3 for 9 lifetime against Gregerson with a homer. And Posey has had 3 hits and 4 at-bats tonight with a homer and 3 runs batted in. Giants have out hit the Astros 11-8. Altuve's up the middle on Posey. He rolls it out to the mound, and that will do it. Gregerson gets the save, falls the win. The Astros come from behind with an 8th inning homer from George Springer, who just returned from a week away from the action. And on the off-speed pitch, Posey was caught out in front. A hot hitter makes the final out of the game, Lover.
Pretty amazing. That gives you an idea how good Gregerson's been this year. Everybody in the league, and especially these Giants, know when facing Gregerson when he was with San Diego Padres. Good fastball, good slider. Posey tried to be aggressive on that slider. Gregerson's slider is just that much better tonight. Gets that big out from a guy who drove in all 3 runs for the San Francisco Giants. Great win.
Yes, it was. The Astros are now 18-0 when they score at least 4 runs. They do get 4 tonight, and they win it 4-3. Gregerson making the final play. Marwin Gonzalez to get Posey.